We go hard in the yard with a library call. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today we got a special episode. We've been sending out invitations. We've been telling people disagree with what we're saying. Let's just have a debate, formal debate. You bring your ideas, allow your ideas to be tested. We'll bring our ideas. You guys already know what we stand for if you've been watching us. So this is going to be a great episode. This is going to be a great bout. It's going to be a great debate. My brother Avery is currently in class. So I'm going to just have a conversation with this brother until Avery gets here and allow Avery to engage in a full-fledged debate with him. Before I bring the guest of honor into the room, until I bring the guest of honor in the room, let me bring my brother Sean up. Sean the Dunn, what's going on, man? Talk to me.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me, bro? I'm driving home. I might lose you. I'm going over the mountain right now. You hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
All right, cool. So the brother was just in the back asking me if I was talking about him. I have no idea who he is, but we could definitely dialogue.
Yeah, we'll dialogue real quick until Avery get here. Hold him over. Avery's usually busy during the daytime, so it's hard for him to do daytime shows and stuff like that. But we worked it out, trying to make it happen, and get this information out there. Right now, I'm trying to. Somebody sent me something funny on Facebook. I'm trying to give the link out to my brother James. If you want to be a part, just view and see what's going on. But once the actual debate starts, we're just going to allow Avery and my brother Danooi to do their thing. All right. So let me bring Danooi up. Let him introduce himself to the people. Danooi, you are now on the show. How you doing?
What's going on? Test.
Loud and clear.
All right. So Danooi, so you can read Hebrew then. Atah, Mardid.
No, I can't read Hebrew. I just know how to say your name.
Okay. All right. So the whole point of coming on this show, right, is to discuss the video you made about me without actually confronting me or hey, Danooi, would you be interested in doing a show with me and discussion over these comments that was made?
Got you. We reached out to you. We wanted you to join the StreamYard.
After I confronted you about making a video for doing that, would you see that as being disrespectful? Especially after the fact that I confronted the Hebrew of Israel and asked him, and we set up a time and date and everything, and he flaked. Did he not tell you that? Did he not give you this information?
No, I understand the information. That was my fault. I overslept that day. He was going to come on my channel, and then we tried to reschedule it after that.
Oh, so the blame is on you. You have to take the blame.
Yeah, I overslept that day.
Okay. Well, that's not the thing. When I asked him when he wants to do it, because I was actually sick. I had got a cold because of the changing of the weather here and down in Florida. We kept on going from hot to cold. So I got a cold. And I asked him when he wants to do it. He kept on playing games again. And I'm saying, I'm ready right now. When do you want to do it? Never replied.
He was telling you he had to do it at night because he's busy during the daytime. He's a daytime student. So it's hard for him to do live streams in the daytime. You might see him upload. Those are pre-recorded shows that he uploads during the day. So on YouTube, you can schedule an upload. So he might schedule upload at 1, 2, 3 or whatnot, what have you. And then that will upload during the daytime. But that's not live. I do live streams during the daytime. So he wanted to do it through me. And he tried to squeeze and make that time. I dropped the ball on that. But after that, he still tried to reschedule with you. I know that much.
Okay, I understand. But the thing is, like when I tell him that I live with a roommate, I live with the homeowner of the house because I was going to UCF before the pandemic. And I was saving money because I'm good with money and I know how to save a lot of money up. And I'm not going to just rent an apartment or buy a house when I don't plan on living here my whole life. So when I was going to UCF here in Central Florida, I decided to rent from a house, do the roommate situation to save up money. Now, when I told this man that I respect my roommate, me and my roommate are best friends. He goes to bed at a certain time because he works in the morning. We both do our own thing. He wants to do debates around 11, 12 o'clock. I ain't got time for that. Then he tagged his friends on Facebook to come attack me, talking about why you living with a man for. What does that have to do with anything? Anybody's business. You see what I'm saying?
I got you, but we here now, so we're gonna get past all that, man.
I just want everybody to be clear about the situation of what I went through in order to get this debate on. All right, so as far as my name, you can call me Danooi Darda, which means Israelite in Hebrew. Not saying that I am a direct descendant, because we don't know. Nobody really does know. You know what I'm saying? That's something that is going to have to wait until the end of times, where you just die and you find out if you're going to heaven or not. And those 12 gates, according to the New Testament, if you believe that.
I believe in the New Testament.
Okay, so there you go. So you know that there's 12 gates to heaven, and on those 12 gates are the 12 tribes of Israel. Mm-hmm. That's what you believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to start this off, my Y chromosome is EV13.
Oh, hold on before you finish. You family, man.
No. Check this out. I agree. We all fall under haplogroup E, but that's not the point. The point is that we all had our different cultures. We all have our different history. We all have our different lineages, because EV13 is the craziest haplogroup out of all of the haplogroups. I don't want to hear nobody tell me it's not, because we went in different migrations through North Africa, through Spain to Europe, from the Middle East, from Israel, Syria, the Caucasus, the Balkans. EV13 is the most bizarre. I have a Y chromosome match in every continent on this earth, including Australia. Everywhere. Even I got a Y DNA match in Japan right now, teaching English.
Got you. And guess what? We don't look at you no different, man. You EV13, we teach. Look, you look at our channel and say, "Oh, it's religious, an Israelite thing." No, it's a biblical thing. So, there's patrilines in the Bible, and we believe everybody that came through the patriline E, as you know, comes from Shem. So we look at you as a Semite. We don't look at it as a religious ethno thing. We look at it as sharing a common male ancestor, which you and I do. We all go back to a man that lived in times past that had the paternal root of haplogroup EM96.
And see, Brother Genesis, that's where we disagree on. I don't believe we originally came from a man named Shem coming down from Turkey or Armenia. I just don't believe that theory. Don't. I used to believe it until I started dealing with these genetics, and I started realizing the Bible's only 6,000 years old.
Nah, bro, you got your flood at the wrong time period if you're going with it, because you got to understand the early part of the Bible is an oral tradition. See, we approach it more from a scholastic perspective, right? So the early part of the Bible is the oral tradition. The oral tradition is just a cultural narrative that encapsulates truths, but it has their morals and their beliefs merged on in there. So when you're looking for the flood, you need to look where the archaeological record aligns with it, and that's the last glacial maximum. And if you're looking on the secular thing, that's like between 100 and 25,000 years ago. Between that time period, 125,000 years ago, this last glacial maximum period, that's when you find the migration patterns the Bible talks about. That's when you find that aligns up and everything like that. So you got to find the right, I guess I'll say, markers or the right events in the archaeological record to line up with the Bible, not just go off of the father-son narrative, because a lot of those numbers are thought to have to deal with gematria and different stuff like that, not necessarily to mean direct year-to-year dates.
Okay, I want to get this correct. Did you say oral tradition?
Yes.
What oral tradition?
You believe Moses wrote the Torah.
Okay, how is that oral?
The story about Adam, all that would have had to been handed down to him through oral tradition.
But he's supposedly written down when he talked to after speaking to the burning bush, he met him on Mount Sinai, and that's when Yahweh, with his own hand, wrote the commandments. Right?
But he didn't write the history.
Who wrote the history then?
That's what I'm saying. The history's from oral tradition. Remember, Abraham. I mean, I was about to say Abraham. Moses left, and who did he go stay with for 40 years? Midian, the high
Jethro.
priest of
He went to
Midian.
Jethro, which is in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, but it's the high priest of Midian, which is the son of Abraham. That's where he went back to get his traditions, his understanding, and stuff like that from. And then God brought him to free Israel.
Okay, we can touch on this in another video, but this isn't the point. Now, what you're saying to that is that we basically have to just we have to make believe that there was actually actually a Moses, and he actually did come from Egypt as a pharaoh or as somebody that had power in Egypt. And I don't believe none of that. Is there any proof, artifacts, proof that Moses existed in Egyptian artifacts?
Well, that would be up to argumentation, but I don't see what you don't have to believe Shem existed. That was my point about oral tradition. That's an eponymous ancestor.
Yeah,
So you don't have to believe a literal man named Shem existed. That's irrelevant to the point. Shem could be a name that's pointing to a population group, or it could be pointing to a specific person. We don't know. But what we do know is that all the peoples who migrated to the quote unquote land, the descendants of Shem, lived in go back to the Yap haplogroup DE. All the ones that go to the lands where Japheth was said to migrate to go back to the macro haplogroup CF. So it lines up with the narrative. It lines up being three different lineages, just like the Nilotic people go back to A and B. So these
I disagree. Hey, but I disagree with that because during those times you're saying, that's actually haplogroup J that came down from Turkey and Armenia. It wasn't E1B1B. And that's another thing I want to correct is I keep hearing E1B1. It wasn't E1B1. It was E1B1B1B2, E1B1B1B1. And then when you actually look at the Natufian DNA, the culture, it says X.
E1B1. Are you saying it don't have EP2 in the Natufian?
You can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways.
Hold on, let me finish.
No, let me finish. You just made a statement, and I want to finish that.
Hold on, I didn't even finish.
That's it.
Hold on, real quick, son. Hold on, real quick.
Let me finish.
Hold on,
you
said something. Hold on, reset. Let me reset because y'all about to go. Y'all about to go down. We're not gonna do that, right? Because we're gonna keep this cordial. Now, what's the point of contention? State your point of contention, Danooi, and then we'll talk about that.
The point is, it says E1B1 X E1B1A1. You notice it doesn't say X by the E1B1B1. Why is that? Were they referring that EM81 was actually part of the Natufian DNA culture?
You want the answer? You want me to explain that to you?
I see. I got the DNA up. I know what
I got it on the screen. So right here, it says E1B1 X because E1B1 is ancestral to E1B1A1, which is V38, and E1B1B1B1, which is EM215. E1B1 is ancestral. That's all that means. You see that here, up here, where it says J. When it says J, this is ancestral, most basal J, and it can produce J1A, J1A2, or J2B. That's all that means.
That's wrong though, because when it has the X, that means excludes. That means it didn't test positive for E1B1A, but it did test positive for E1.
Where did you get that from? Show me in an article or any publication where it says that X means it didn't test positive.
That's what that means. That's exactly what that means. It means exclude.
We can go into the article and show you where it tells you.
Why would they have an X? Because they're telling you in scientific research, you're going to show that we tested for it, but it didn't test positive. That's why it's up there because they tested for it. They can't find it.
Okay, let me just read this for him, James. Yeah. Brother Danooi, my fellow Yap brother, EV13 brother. Right here, you can see I1069 is designated E1B1, X E1B1A1, E1B1B1B1. Again.
So let's clarify that. What does that? Why does it have an X for?
Got you. It's right here. You see these words here? They characterize it here. It says this individual was derived from mutation P179, defining haplogroup E1B1. So we know what it is. It's haplogroup E1B1 because it has the mutation P179.
But it
It-
doesn't produce E1B1As.
Let him
It
finish
doesn't
real
work
quick.
that
You
way.
cutting him off before you even
E1B1A
finish.
was already created.
Brother,
That's
let
the
him
problem
finish.
you're running
It will
into.
say it in there. You gotta
I
be
got
quiet and
you. I
listen
got
to
you,
what it
Danooi.
says.
I got you,
No,
Danooi.
you made a statement. You read
Let me
it, and
finish.
I was
I'm gonna
speaking
finish
about
reading
that.
it because it
He's
explains
not
it to
even
you,
finished.
Danooi.
You say something after every sentence, brother. Be quiet. He'll tell you when he's done.
So Danooi, as when you read on, it says E1B1 in upstream mutation M5043 defining haplogroup E. So we know exactly what haplogroup this is. It tells you in the paper how they characterize it. It
Right.
says this is why you have the X here. It was ancestral for Z116, which is E1B1A1. So E1B1 is ancestral to E1B1A. That's what this
Right.
says. And CTS8649, that's EM215. That's E1B1B1B1.
That's
And could
EM81, but that's E1A. That's
He
EM81.
almost
Sorry,
done.
but
There's one more
that's
sentence left,
EM81.
brother. It's on the
got you.
screen. Look at
So
That's EM81. I didn't say anything wrong. That's EM81.
No,
I want
I'm
to
saying let
clarify.
him finish. You won't let him finish though. That's what
Bro,
you're doing
I'm
wrong.
not discussing with you. I'm discussing with Genesis 49ers.
hold on,
It
chill.
doesn't matter.
Hold on. Let's not do
Damn,
that.
man.
I'm gonna continue to read on. Then I'm gonna let you and Avery converse because he's actually here. But I just want to continue to show you why it says X here. I'm just trying to show you that this is not have to be confrontational, brother. We didn't bring you on here for that. So right here it says and could be designated as E1B1 X, E1B1A1, E1B1B1B1. So the paper itself tells you.
So it excludes. That X means exclude though, because they tested for it and they couldn't find it, but it tested positive for EM81. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's not what this means, brother.
Yes, it does, because
It
I
just
got the
said it's
numbers right now.
ancestral,
I'll send
brother.
it to you.
It
I'll
says
send
it's
you the numbers
ancestral.
right
Good as
now.
day.
I'll send you the haplogroup what it's talking about right now. I'm not over here playing games or anything. I'll send it to you right now in the chat.
Brother, I'm reading from the actual supplementary materials from Lazarus.
And I'm gonna give you the exact haplogroup they belong to. It wasn't talking about it's talking about a mutation that produced EM81, and that's what I'm talking about. Well, now like the people that follow this doctrine are saying, "Oh well, we was created by E1B1. We was part of that. Yeah, gang. We was part of that." That's that Sean Harris part right there. That's the foolishness that I'm talking about.
You was created by E1B1 as well.
How long ago, bro? How long ago? That's
Don't
all I'm
matter. It's
saying.
still your parental clade.
How long ago?
That's your parental clade, man. There's no way around
How long ago? How long ago?
You
We're
ain't gotta be
thousands
so
of years old. You don't
confrontational.
believe in the
Spaz
biblical
out, brother.
time period. You don't believe in the biblical time period. So how long ago, brother? You tell me. How long ago did E1B1 produce E1B1A and E1B1B? Because we separated a long
According to
time
the
ago.
coalescence date, 14,000 years ago.
How long ago?
According to the coalescence date on the secular model, 14,000 years ago.
That's pre-Bible, man. That's it. That's way over, and I think it's more than that.
That's your opinion. I see that differently, but we're going off the genetics right now, and we're actually supposed to be we're actually discussing whether E1B1 is parental to E1B1A1 and E1B1B1B1, and the paper actually validated everything me and the brother Jashub said, and you were just incorrect. And
no, I'm not incorrect. You're incorrect. It has X. That's an X means exclude. Yeah, that's what you're not understanding. It doesn't mean included.
Okay, maybe Jashub reading it was difficult. Let me read it.
No. Wait. Because you made a time period.
E1B1, and then you have the X he's talking about, E1B1A1, E1B1B1B1. Now,
that's a different
wait a minute, let me just, brother, can you please not interrupt me? I'll tell you when I'm done. That's all I ask. Just don't interrupt me. I'll tell you when I'm done. All right. Now it's going to describe this for us. It says the individual was derived for mutation P179, defining haplogroup E1B1 is a defining mutation of haplogroup E1B1, and upstream mutation M5403, defining haplogroup E. It is ancestral.
No, don't say it is. That's added on. Don't say that.
No, it
is.
Hey, Jashub,
it was ancestral for Z1116.
Wait a minute, brother. You cut me off. I asked you not to, but you were saying
don't add stuff. Don't add. Don't add. I got you adding. Don't add now, bro. I got you adding.
Brother.
You adding to the text.
He
Just shoot,
misspoke
man.
on one thing. It says it was. That's not a big deal. Let's keep it.
Okay.
It is a big deal.
Okay. It was. Does that change anything I said?
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
How?
it does, because not
Does it change the fact that
E1B1s
it's a
and
down?
not no
Does,
come from no E1B1As in freaking
okay.
Natufian
Let
culture.
me just finish reading the thing. And can you please mute him or something so he won't interrupt me? Because he's just being
Yeah, I start
childish. He
putting
won't
people
let
in the
nobody
back
finish.
until they get their points across and then putting you back up. We're gonna have to do it that way. Go
Yeah.
ahead, James.
All right. Okay, cool. It was ancestral for I'm going to skip the Z and get straight to the point. E1B1A1. Is that not following the X, Jashub? E1B1A1.
Can I talk now?
No, I'm not. I asked Jashub a question. Is that E1B1A1 following the X, Jashub?
Yes,
All right.
it is.
And it also says E1B1B1B1. Is that also following the X, Jashub?
Yes.
All right, and then it says it could be designated. So the same thing that was just described could be designated as E1B1, then in parentheses X E1B1A1, E1B1B1B1. That's the same thing as the label that's above. That's proving what me and Jashub said,
No, it's
negating
not.
what you said. And if you can't even accept that based on the actual facts that's down, how can anyone have a factual conversation with you?
Now can I talk?
You got it.
Now, see what you said earlier. We're not going to run away from what you said. You said that E1B1A was created how long ago?
I said, according to coalescence dates on the secular model, 14,000 years ago.
That's not what it has. It has 41,700 years, and the source is retrieved from the EV38Y tree. That's their source. So you can make up theories, but this is what geneticists are going based off. Now, when it comes to the XE1B1A, and this is a big deal still because I just explained to you that it's excluding. It's not including. It's excluding. If it included, it wouldn't have an X by it. I just sent in the chat what it's referring to. It's referring to EM215. This is the reason why E1B1B1B1, which are found in modern day Berbers, North Africans, that's the reason why I don't have an X, because the Berbers were part, like they were right there with each other. If you look at their DNA and gen match, they have Natufian DNA, just like EV13, just like EM78. We all have Natufian DNA. But now E1B1A does not have Natufian DNA. Go ahead.
There are West African groups with Levantine Neolithic DNA. What are you talking about?
That I'm glad you said that, because we'll go to the source where it excludes sub-Saharan DNA from Natufians.
Go to the source that excludes this E1B1A1 from this
And this
E1B1 right
conversation
here.
is between me and the brother Genesis 49. I don't know why other people, we can have a comment, a Q&A at the end. I have no problem doing that at the end.
It wasn't
right
a question,
now,
it was a statement.
Please.
Source
Wait,
up.
are you aware?
Let's reset real quick.
Yeah, let's reset.
Because I asked between y'all two, not everybody else. You know,
I got
Genesis
you.
49.
I got you. But we were just trying to have a conversation with you until Avery got here because he was in class. So
problem.
this part was just open conversation. I just want to say, like, you can see that this language here is replete in the actual scientific document. So it's not just talking about E1B1. And each segment, each one of these Natufians, it tells you which branch of the phylogenetic tree they derive from. So this one right here, that's E1B1B1B2, which is a paraphyletic group because it can produce either one of these. It can either produce E1B1B12A or E1B1B1B12B. The same language. And why does it have the X there, brother? Because it says it was ancestral for L857.
That's not what it says, though, brother. That's not what it says. It says X.
Brother, I'm reading. Hold on, brother. X means by. That's what it means. That's what X means. By.
Where does it say by? By.
That's what the word X means in the literature.
Shoot, I share my screen if you want to read this paper that actually talks about how E1B1A and E1B1B come from E-P2. I'm sharing my screen.
Right. So I'm just showing him other examples in the paper that this does not mean exclude. And it's clear what it says. It was ancestral for L857. It was ancestral for Z865 and could be designated. Why? Because it's ancestral to these clades. That's all that means. We can keep going. Here's another example.
No, wait.
The other
I
night,
was asked to pull up the source, so I want to be kind and give people the source, the academic source that backs up what I'm saying, please. Is everybody ready? I try to share my screen, but I can't share it for some reason. So everybody's just gonna have to
share your stream.
I did. It says not allowed. Something is blocking me from being able to share my screen.
Did you accept camera when you came in here? Did it say
yeah?
allow?
I went to settings and privacy to verify it was checked. The check mark was.
Well, are you on a phone or on a computer?
I'm on my MacBook. I mean,
okay.
Why would I be? No, never mind. But anyways, here's this source so people can go to it.
Oh, I see it. The Rocky Fet Cave EM215. Is that what you're trying to pull to show us?
That's the one that they found was E1B1. That's what I'm trying to explain. That was the one that they found.
Gotcha.
And it is no disrespect to E1B1A. E1B1A has a great culture, but unfortunately, they had nothing to do with Natufians. That's my whole point.
Gotcha.
There's nothing wrong with E1B1. I got called a racist for no reason. Like, bro, what? How is that racist to say E1B1A wasn't part of the Natufian culture? That's absolutely ridiculous. And
well,
the
E1B1 was a part of the Natufian culture. You still not?
No. Let's go over that again. It's EM215. Now you can sit there and say E1B1A was created later on. That doesn't make any sense when the full Y has.
You keep saying no, but that's what the paper says. I'm just telling you what the paper says, brother.
No problem. No problem. Let's see what the paper says as far regarding this situation, right? So y'all ready for the source? Because obviously I can't share my screen.
Try to leave and come back.
No. Everybody,
no, because I want you to be able to. I want to be able to see what you're talking about, brother. That's what I'm saying.
Brother Genesis.
Yeah. You got to show and prove. Like, come on.
I'm gonna give you the source. If you don't have access to it, that's not my problem. I'm gonna give you the source. So you can type it up, and everybody at home watching this can type it up too, and they can save this document. Because this article is important according to your theory. It's called generic. I
thought we would source up
genomic insights into the origin of farming in the ancient Near East. And the author is I might have it already.
That's what's on the screen. That's exactly what's on the screen.
Oh, you got it.
Literally the paper.
That's literally what I'm reading from. Look, let me show you.
Okay, so let me read this.
What did that say right there? Supplementary information.
Let me read this. Let me read this then. A population without Neanderthal mixture basal to other Eurasians may have possibly lived in Africa. A colmetric analysts have suggested an affinity between the Natufians and populations of North or Sub-Saharan Africa, a result that finds some support from Y chromosome analysts, which shows that Natufians and successor Levantine Neolithic populations carried haplogroup E of likely ultimate African origin, which has not been detected in other ancient males from West Asia, Eurasia. However, no affinity of Natufians to Sub-Saharan Africans is evident in our genome-wide analysis, as present-day Sub-Saharan Africans do not share more alleles with Natufians than with other ancient Eurasians.
Can you tell us what the more alleles means? That they do not share more alleles with Natufians than ancient Eurasians? Could you explain that to us, please?
Let me go back to what.
And you still haven't read the part, like the supplementary information gives you the actual haplogroups. Avery wants to share something. Let me let Avery share.
I agree. If you extend the data table, it shows the haplogroups, which a lot of people don't. They don't actually look at the Excel. They don't open up.
All right. So here is haplogroup E-P2. Haplogroup E-P2, also known as E1B1, like in that Natufian sample, is a human Y chromosome DNA haplogroup. This paternal clade has an ancient presence in the Middle East and is now primarily distributed in Africa, where it's believed to have originated with lower frequencies in the Middle East and Europe. So what are the descendants of haplogroup E-P2? The descendants is EV38 and E-M215. So what's EV38? EV38 is basically E1B1A.
Yep.
They both descend from E1B1 or EP2. All right.
How long ago?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
They both
matter.
descend
It
from
does matter how long ago.
doesn't.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't.
Matter.
All these
Does it?
haplogroups are ancient. Haplogroup J is ancient. Haplogroup G is ancient. Haplogroup R is ancient. All these
I agree.
haplogroups are ancient.
I agree 100%.
So why don't you talk about them? Why is it a problem for E? Why is it not a problem
Because they
for
don't
J?
follow the migration from Turkey, Armenia down to the
Turkey,
freaking
Armenia does not matter. It doesn't matter. Why?
It does matter.
All right,
It does
all right.
matter.
So reset.
It does matter.
This is what I'm gonna do. Everybody that's in the stage, I'm gonna drop y'all. This is what's gonna happen. I want y'all to just wait till the question answers. This is what we're gonna do. Boom, boom. We're gonna drop you. Shalom, Sister Shari. I'll bring y'all back up. Y'all getting dropped. Point of contention. We're gonna start at this point of contention. Danooi, you say that the people must come down from the Caucasus, right?
No, wait. Not the Caucasus now, because according to your video that you made about me, you said somebody said that the mountain is actually in Turkey and it's called Mount Kudi.
No, they didn't say Turkey.
Yes, you did. That's exactly where Mount Kudi is at. It's in Turkey. Northern Syria, northern Iraq. And the Mount Kudi, if you look it up, is in Turkey, bud.
Northern Syria, northern Iraq. I can pull up the map right now.
What is the mountain called? Say it again.
All right, now I got to pull up the map.
What is the mountain called?
So wait, before y'all go on this, I'm trying to get the contention clear so the audience knows.
I'll let you go. You shoot. My bad.
Talk what you guys talking about. You're saying that these people have nothing to do with what region and why? Danooi.
What's the question? You got to clarify, please.
Okay, you said that, hey, these people don't come down from Armenia, the Caucasus, or Turkey. What were you saying? What's the contention?
The Bible. If you're gonna believe the Bible, everybody wants to believe the Bible, right? You can't sit there and believe genetics and then the Bible and science. It just doesn't work, because you're mixing what we have right now as scientific research with, some people say, fables. Not everybody believes in the Bible. And if you're gonna say, oh well, the Bible's not correct with the times, we don't know that the earth is 6,000 years old. A lot of BHIs, Black Hebrew Israelites, they do believe in the 6,000 years old. I'm not saying y'all do. Y'all say, oh, well, you have to just, maybe think about it. Oral tradition, I don't believe in all of that. If you're going to believe in the Bible, you believe that. I believe that the earth was 6,000 years ago for a long time, because of the oldest tree that they found and the rings that they found in the tree. That's what I believed in. Now y'all want to believe in science, and people were living in Israel 12,700 years ago, and Natufian populations burying their people with fox skins and whatnot. And then now they're Israelites and Canaanites. I don't believe that. That's what I'm saying.
That's fine. And we're not here to talk about what we believe. We're going to bring up our beliefs, but we're going to bring evidences to support them. That's the difference. That's what happens in science. So they have a term called putative. Putative is something a scientist believes. It's not something that we have physical data on, but we have circumstantial data to lead to for a scientist to affirm or even posit that putative ancestor or putative thing actually does have credence to it. The Bible's no different. The Bible's full of putative scenarios that we don't have any empirical evidence for. So you have to go from a circumstantial route. For example, Abraham. There's no empirical evidence of Abraham that he ever existed. Right? There's no evidence of a physical Abraham, his body, the corpse, no tomb, no nothing. Well, so how do you argue that?
According to the traditions, the bones are in a cave in Israel, but according to religious laws or whatever they have in Israel, they can't find what those skeletons are. Those specific, because the claim is that Abraham purchased the cave to be buried in the land of Canaan.
Got you, but that's my point. There's no physical evidence. You can't prove that Abraham lived, so you have to argue with circumstantial evidence. You have to argue with the fact that his name is a Western Semitic name. You have to argue with, we have archaeology with the fortress of Abraham being mentioned by the Egyptians. You have to argue from that standpoint because you don't have direct evidence.
Brother, that really goes against what people believe in the Torah, though. If you tell a Jew that, they're gonna look at you like a religious Jew, especially ultra Orthodox. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy.
It doesn't matter we're not worried about what people disagree with us all the time. We're not worried about that. We're here to have this discussion. So back on the topic, we're looking at empirical data, formulating our arguments, right? You came up with a point of contention saying that, hey, these people don't come from a certain area. So let's start there. Go.
Mount Kudi, right? What was the mountain that you called it, the Hebrew of Israel?
Mount Judy or Hudi?
Hudi, right? So what's the height of Mount Hudi in Turkey? Because it's a mountain in Turkey. If you just look up that name,
Let me just pull up a map. Let me just pull up my map. Hold on. It's way south of Turkey, close to northern Syria and northern Iraq. Here,
but
there's a map.
I'm sorry, but if you look it up, it says Mount in Turkey. So does Turkey own that property? Does it start in Turkey and end in Syria, or does it start?
Look, it's on the screen right there. Mount Kudi, that's north of Syria, north of Iraq, way south of Turkey.
That's in Turkey, but that red dot is in Turkey. But you see where it drips down like the like India or Texas? It has a little peninsula. That's in Turkey. That's that dot you that pin for the map is in Turkey. That's in present day Turkey. Now, are you saying that Turkey didn't used to own that land back in the day, and now you're saying that it's Syria?
Let's slow things down. What do you mean by back in the day? What time period are we talking?
Because Turkey didn't own all that land. That land used to belong to Armenia. The mountains of Ararat, all those mountains over there belong to Armenia. Those lands were stolen from Armenia. That's the reason why a lot of the Japheth descendants like Magog, Ararat, Ashkenaz was bordering Armenia in Turkey. It wasn't in Germany like the so-called Jewish say. It was in Turkey.
Wait, so-called Jewish? Aren't you Jewish?
No, I see you missed the whole conversation about this.
Wait, what are you? What's your ethnicity?
Okay,
he's haplogroup EV13. I know that much.
A down subclade of EFGC 1145.
Are you black or something? Like, what are you? I know you're haplogroup, but what are you?
See what I mean? Like, people worry about skin color. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with skin color. I got cousins that are solid white and they're EM2. I have another relative.
All right, never mind. That it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we understand that. We talk about that all the time, that a person can have the same paternal ancestors and have a different phenotype. We're not worried about that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the point is there is a tradition that Ararat is in Armenia. This tradition was created in the Middle Ages. This is not an ancient.
Pull that up.
Exactly, but the thing is, now we're gonna get.
This is from the Armenian Christianity.
Please stop.
Let him bring his source out. Then you retort when he.
You already did the source in the video that y'all made behind my back without having me on
behind your back. We can put out whatever videos we want.
Hold on. We're here live. We're trying to establish points of contention. Talk about them.
Yes,
so let him finish this point. We're gonna do this thing decently in order. That's all I'm trying to do.
But I asked the question: How tall was that mountain that he said, and he never answered it.
How tall was the mountain? You never asked.
How tall is Mount Kudi, bro? That's how tall is the mountain?
Mount Judy.
How tall is Mount Judy? Please, por favor.
Currently, today or back then, because erosion could have happened. It could have been taller back then than it is today. Mountains do erode and they do get shorter over time, based on like rainfall and stuff. So I don't know how tall it was back in ancient times. It could have been very tall, but I don't know how tall it is today.
It's very tall. I'm looking at it. 6,854 feet.
Okay, well, how tall is the Mount of Ararat?
There's no such thing as a mountain of Ararat. There's mountains of Ararat.
I don't care what you call it. How tall is it? How tall is the mountain?
The highest different mountains. Is 16,854 feet.
Thank you, brother. That's all I wanted to do, so people can understand that which one is the tallest mountain in that region.
It still doesn't matter because that's not.
It does matter. It does matter.
So
It
so
does
okay,
matter.
you established that point that it's tall. I
It's
don't know
tall.
how it fits.
How did
I
those
got you.
people know?
Hold on. I got you. So
Yeah,
now
okay.
he's going to establish his point on where the Ararat tradition comes from. Go ahead and read that, Avery.
All right, so the Ararat tradition came in the Middle Ages, second millennium AD. It's not ancient. The Israelites didn't say that the ark rested in Mount Ararat in the Iron Age or in the Bronze Age. This stuff came much, much later. And this was because of Armenian Christians who sort of created this narrative because it became Armenian nationalism. This is the book Armenian Christianity Today. And it goes into the fact how in the second millennium BC, in the second millennium AD, that basically Armenians sort of just chose that mountain as being the place where the ark rested. And it became a part of Armenian identity. But that's not what the ancient Israelites ever said. This is an Armenian mythology. And Armenians have many other mythologies too, such as Hayek the Great.
Yep, I agree. I posted as a comment on your page that they
Yeah, and I
believe
made
that
a
there's
video on
cemetery
it too.
there.
I've made a whole video about Hayek as well. I knew about Hayek in the Armenian story as well. I'm familiar with Caucasian culture. I studied it.
And those
So,
haplogroups that they carry is R1b majority, not J. J is minor in Armenia.
yeah, but also we have Chechens and English people who also have haplogroup J at nearly 100%, and they also have tradition of descending from people like Togorma. They descend from a man called Kavaskus, who eventually became Caucasians or Caucasians.
Well, that's not where. So here, the thing is, if you're gonna use those words like that, we have to go back to the definition of like Caucasian race, Afro-Asiatic
let's do it.
languages. Let's do it.
I already got it all here because of
Okay.
all my videos are pre-made.
Caucasian race. So the definition of Caucasian race, according to Miners Blumbach, described the Caucasian race as consisting of native inhabitants of Europe, West Asia, the Indian Peninsula, and North Africa.
Right.
Now all of this, these same people, these same white people that came with all this.
Something's happening. What's that noise?
I apologize for that. That's my knee. All these classifications for race, everything. All this stuff came from white people in Germany, in Austria. They were the ones that came up with this classification of languages, of race. And the reason being is because they found skulls in the Caucasus that resembled that of Caucasians, of what we call Caucasians now, because like me in Genesis, and hopefully you too, the Hebrew of Israel, know that skin color has nothing to do with, your do with anything. But however, we do have different skull shapes that separates us as race.
All right. So
and that's the doctrine. That's the doctrine that they classified Caucasian race and Afro-Asiatics. They based it off of that, which was you could call it it wasn't racist, but you can say it's a I guess like a Eurocentric belief.
Yeah, it's Hamitic hypothesis type stuff. Where they say the people with Caucasoid skulls are a different race. That's completely pseudoscience, and they have hold on. Let me retort, and then you can respond. That's pseudoscience, craniometrics. No one uses craniometrics to determine patrilineals or matrilines. No one does that in today's science. That's a 19th century thing. Yeah, you find people use old literature like that to try to determine skull shapes, but skull shapes doesn't determine who you are, because that's a phenotype. That's phenotype. Phenotype doesn't determine your ancestry. You can pick those phenotypes up easily from other groups.
I agree, brother, but that's the thing. When all this classification of language of Afro-Asiatic, Caucasian race, all of that stuff came out, that's what it was based off of, and they're still using it today. To this day, you can't tell me no, because when Afro-Asiatic was determined, it was determined by these white Eurocentric people that first came out with these terms of Afro-Asiatic. They called it Afro-Asian. That's what they called it, and they determined it.
Well, before we get to Afro-Asiatic, let's stick with Caucasian first. Let's let that be our second topic. I want to stick on Caucasian really quick.
Yeah,
when it comes to Caucasians, I'm very specific with my term Caucasian. I know here in the West, people say, oh, Caucasian, that means white people. No, Caucasian is a very specific ethnic group in the Caucasus. So let's look at this. If you type in Caucasian languages, it's a very specific language group. It's an isolate language group, and it's not related to Afroasiatic. It's not related to Indo-European. It's its own type of people. People classified as Caucasians would be your Georgians, your Azerbaijani people, your Chechens, your English, your Nak peoples, your Dangestani peoples. Caucasian languages and Caucasian people are very distinct linguistically and culturally and genetically. That's what I mean by Caucasian when I was referring to like the English and the Chechen peoples earlier. That's what I'm talking about. And here's a a map that shows you Caucasian peoples. And look, they even distinguish them. Caucasian peoples. You got your Abkhazians and your Georgians and your Dangestani and your Venaks. And then here are Indo-European peoples. Again, it's distinguishing the two. Like your Armenians, your Greeks, your Iranians, Slavics, and then you have the Altic peoples, and those would be your Mongols and your Turks. So this is very distinct. I'm using language, and I'm using genetics, and I'm using culture and archaeology. And so that's what I'm talking about when it comes to Caucasians. Basically, for instance, when it comes to the Northeast Caucasians, you have your Nak Dangestani, and when it comes to your Northwest Caucasians, you have your Abkhazians type of peoples. I was very distinct in this when I brought this out in my presentation dealing with Caucasian languages from the Britannia.com and various other sources. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, you good.
All right, good. So now we can get into and by the way, well, I guess I don't have to go any further, but that's what I'm referring to. I just want to make that very clear. All right, so what's the next topic?
All right, so no. So let's stay on this matter because we have to clarify these Habla groups that came from this region. I heard in this previous video with Genesis 49ers that Habla group J came from the Caucasus.
Yes, it did. Yeah,
Georgia. But that's not what it says. It actually says that it originated in Anatolia. It's an Anatolian origin, and then it migrated through Mesopotamia, and then like different branches because J2 and J1 are not the same. They absolutely hated each other as far as Canaanites and Israelites and all that, because we know that the Canaanites are Habla group J. And I know we're not there yet. We'll get to that. But we know that the Canaanites are J2. If you believe in genetics and you in research and archaeology, we know that the Canaanites belong to J2 based off the skeletons that's been found.
I agree with that. I agree.
And the problem, and the problem is that you still have WHIs that come on your channel and we're targeting, like we're saying stuff about, E1B1A is Israelites and
dude,
and
I cannot control what other grown men and women say. Like, you got to just brush it off. I can't control what other grown men and women say in the chat. You just got to just deal with it.
I agree, brother. But the thing is, when you and Genesis 49ers made the video, you took my comments out of context because you didn't read what those people were saying. You only read what I was saying. So you didn't have a fundamental understanding of why I was saying the things I said. Similar to why Jacob could wax pale in the face from being ashamed of his children, Israel. You didn't understand.
Yeah, you
what
was
I was
trying to say that they were white. I'm pretty.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said. And then y'all said that I was a WHI. No, I'm not a WHI. I've completely debunked British Israelism. That's the oldest Hebrew Israelite doctrine there is
Did
British
you not
Israel.
say that all Europeans are Israelites? Did you not say that?
Please bring that comment up because you did not read the whole comment thoroughly. And maybe I should have wrote the same thing for both.
I would like to provide a source real quick while we try to find this comment. Because you mentioned J1P58. You know what's crazy about that is the founding Jewish lineages genetically are not even J1. That's one thing. It's E3B and J2. Those are the major two, and everything else are pretty much and Fickety. that gravitate towards or are absorbed by that initial group. But I want to show you this real quick, right?
I also have the comment up about
Yeah,
too. You should.
we speaking scientifically. It's not gonna take long.
Okay.
Got you.
This is origin and diffusion of human Y chromosome haplogroup JM267. When we read when we read scientific works, we understand the best dating method and the best the best way to mark where people are in ancient times and where their haplogroups have trekked anciently is through ancient DNA and remains. So when we deal with J1M267, the oldest human ancient, oh, somebody need to mute out. Somebody need to mute.
Sorry about that.
Wow.
That's what happens when you have dog. Well, I don't have a dog, but when the owner
it's fine, brother. Just make sure you mute out if it happens again. That way we're not distracted by that. But anyway, this article tells you where the oldest ancient DNA reported so far for this haplogroup here. It says belonging to this haplogroup originates from an individual who lived less than 13.3 thousand years ago in the Caucasus during the late Upper Paleolithic. So the oldest ancient DNA we have of this clade is there. I just want that to be established and noted. Right?
Okay. So there's actually a great quote that I was hoping to start this presentation with. It's by Robert Ballard. The deep sea is the largest museum on Earth. It contains more history than all the museums on land combined, and yet we're only now penetrating it. And the reason why I would like to bring that up is the whole concept of the Black Flood hypothesis that occurred around the Caucasus regions that caused those that were living in that region to start migrating down. It happened during the last melt of the snow or whatever, or the ice. How do you say that? Last glacier melting when the waters rose up.
The last glacial maximum.
Thank you. And what happened was the Mediterranean Sea flooded into what we call now the Black Sea, even though it wasn't the Black Sea before. It was a freshwater lake. And Robert Ballard proved that by taking samples down in the earth, and he found freshwater organisms such as clams, freshwater mussels. And he found that there was settlements that used to be there that are no longer there. Like they're obviously down in the Black Sea. So there was a flood. According to their findings, there was a flood. And now, if you want to look this up, he started this research, I think, back in 2004. It's Robert Ballard.
All right. So is that my time? All right. So when it comes to that, there are a few issues and a few questions that I got. All right. So there was a flood in the Black Sea. Got it. How is that evidence that those are Israelites? So what? There's many floods all over the planet. I mean, what does that have to do with anything?
The reason it has to do with this because now you start having different populations of haplogroup J's and G's and whatnot coming down from that region. They started coming down to Mesopotamia, and they took whatever knowledge they had in that area and they brought it down to Mesopotamia with the farming that they had and all of that stuff. I had a picture on.
Hold on. So a flood happened.
Yep.
Various haplogroups started to migrate into Mesopotamia. Got it. Still, what does that have to do with Israelites? Those could have just been other people groups. They don't have to be Israelites. They can be literally anybody else.
When did that occur? You know what I'm saying? They said it was based off of
maximum was definitely not in the Bronze Age. Definitely not in the Iron Age when the Israelites.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, but why does haplogroup J2 come into the land of Canaan during the early Bronze Age? And
why we know why it came in. It came in after the collapse of Semitic empires because haplogroup J collapsed Semitic empires. They were the enemies of Semitic.
How is that Semitic, bro? That's not Semitic. But
wait, what's not Semitic?
We're rushing this. I think we're rushing this. We have to do the comment first, but I want to say there was no Semitic in the land. The Natufians weren't Semitic.
Oh no, I didn't say Natufians. I said haplogroup J came in to the Levant after having collapsed Semitic civilizations in Mesopotamia. You do know it was Hurrians and other groups that destroyed the kingdom of Akkad. It was attacked by Gutians from the Zagros Mountains. where haplogroup J came from.
Yeah. The first nation that I remember that started, wasn't it Nimrod creating Babylon and Babel and the destruction of the Tower of Babel, and everybody starts spreading out? I'm so confused what we're talking about right now, because it first starts with Babylon and Cush being around the southern Iraq area.
So
what verse, what Bible verse are you talking about?
Wait, so what are you trying to say when it comes to Cush and all that? Wait, what are you saying now?
I'm trying to understand what Semite culture, civilizations you're talking about, because when the Bible first starts talking off, it starts with like the southern Iraq area, Babylon, Babel, all those areas.
Yeah, a bunch of Semites were there. Iraq. Yeah, Afro-Asiatic people were there. Yeah, okay.
So if you're telling me Jays came and disrupted that, why is it that the Marsh Arabs had the highest percentage of haplogroup J, page 08 or 08, and they've been isolated for like what, 4,000 years or more?
Okay, so you're saying that the ancient Sumerians' descendants are the Marsh Arabs. I want to make that clear.
I didn't say that.
I'm just asking. I'm asking. Are you saying that?
We know that the Aborigines people, the original people, not indigenous, are original people, like Aboriginal, like Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can claim to be Native American, but can you claim to be an Aboriginal American? That area was all EM123. All of this was EM123, EM34, and EM84.
You're talking about Iraq, right? I'm trying to make sure because you said America. You're talking about Iraq?
Yeah, because if you go, I think it's what is it? That Neolithic plateau pottery. Give me a second, please.
I also, while you getting that, I need to add this.
Okay.
When the first Proto-Semitic speakers, how old is that? We have to establish that first. We know when haplogroup J comes into the Levant, and we know when large influxes of haplogroup J begins to proliferate and take over the Levant. This is well after Proto-Semite was established and began to flourish. According to the Bayesian model, most linguists, most people that deal with this field, date Semitic approximately 5,750 years ago.
Right. Actually, I can get into that right now. Well,
start sourcing up. We want sources, man. Sources.
Yeah, let's bring out the sources. So I'm going to make this quick. Give me, Dan, give me just like 5 minutes to bring this out.
Okay, while you're discussing that, I have the what I was talking about. It's that pre-pottery Neolithic B.
PPNB. Right, so are there J markers? Got you. Okay. PPNB. Hold on real quick before you bring that out, Avery. During the PPNB period, are there J markers in the Levant?
No. I'm sorry. No.
So that means the Semitic language is being spoken before haplogroup J even got to the Levant.
There was no Semite. Don't say that. No, that's absolutely wrong. There was no Semitic languages. There was no Shem yet. The theory of Shem came down from Turkey, Armenia. Let's remember that.
No. Let's
So we're at an impasse. We're at an impasse. Show your source, Avery. Show your source.
Yeah.
Avery.
So all right.
The source
let's get. Wait. No.
I want Avery to show his source. Hey, but Danooi, what I want you to do is, can you please leave the chat and come right back so you can share your sources on the screen as well? I want it to be fair.
All right.
I didn't try to show the source.
All right. So this is from Cambridge. I'm going to go through this. Just give me about 5 minutes. I'm going to try to quickly go through this. So it says, given the modern distribution of Semitic languages over the area in question, which belong to the larger Afro-Asiatic family, it seems appropriate to suggest that these first farmers of the Levant and their Mesolithic predecessors, including the Natufian culture, were speaking a Proto-Afro-Asiatic language. Skipping down, it may be that Proto-Semitic continued to develop within the Levant and Syria area since both Ebelite and Akkadian early Semitic languages are there attested early. The farmer around 2400 BC. This paper in Hot Pursuit of Language Prehistory says This paper makes an additional inference since there is archaeological and physical anthropological reason to believe that the Natufians were related to modern Semitic-speaking peoples of the Levant. This is why we believe Natufians are the ancestors of Semites. None of us are saying that the Natufians are the Israelites. We're saying that the Natufians will represent the ancestors of the Israelites. Now, this paper, the Bayesian phylogenetic analysis of Semitic languages, identifies an early Bronze Age origin of the Levant in the Near East. And it reads, we use Bayesian phylogenetic methods to elucidate the relationships and divergence dates of Semitic languages, which we then related to epiographic and archaeological records to produce a comprehensive hypothesis of Semitic language, of Semitic origins and dispersals after the divergence of ancestral Semitic from Afro-Asiatic in Africa. We estimate that Semitic had an early Bronze Age origin, 5,750 YBP, which is years ago, in the Levant, followed by an expansion of Akkadian into Mesopotamia. So Semites are migrating from the Levant into Mesopotamia like the Akkadians. And I'm going to play this clip real quick that explains the history of Semitic language migration. So I'm going to play this really quick. I'm going to share my screen again. History of Semitic language. This is also in my playlist on YouTube for y'all to check it out. I'm about to share the screen here in a few seconds. I need to get this video. I'm not going to play the whole video, only half of it, but it's going to show you the migration map of Semites from the Levant into Mesopotamia. And here we go. And then we're going to go back to my other screen once we're done showing this, but let me skip this ad real quick. So can y'all see? Actually, I don't want to get you copyright YouTube, so I'm going to just mute it. So here's the, oh wait, no, you can't see. You should be there. All right. So here's the migration map of Semites. Actually, let me make that bigger. Hey, Shuba, is it cool if you put the comment down so it can be a little bit bigger for everyone? Thank you. All right. So here is the migration of Semites. So again, the Levant is the homeland of Natufians, and Proto-Semites would descend from Natufians, and Proto-Semitic is expanding from the Levant, going into places like Arabia and going into Mesopotamia. It splits into Western Semitic and Eastern Semitic. Eastern Semitic will be your Ebelite and your Akkadian, and they will push further down into Mesopotamia, as you see, and further down into Arabia. And again, this is around the time of the Bronze Age. But what I want to do is go back and show you the origin point. Proto-Semitic origin point is around 4,000 BCE. 4,000 BCE. Let's keep that in mind. 4,000 BCE is when Proto-Semitic really started popping. And then it's around 3,750 BC when it began to expand. Now let's go back to the other paper. I'll bring all this together to see why this is important.
Wow.
So, and that video is titled The History of Semitic Languages. So now let's go to the next thing. So again, such a scenario would also explain the presence of Y chromosome haplogroup E in the Natufians and Levantine farmers, a common link between the Levant and Africa. I just want to establish again, Natufians and Levantines had haplogroup E. And so this paper, Europedia, haplogroup E1B1B says haplogroup E-M34 is the main Middle Eastern variety of E1B1B and is thought to have arrived with the Proto-Semitic people in the late Copper to early Bronze Age. You do have scientists that say haplogroup E is Proto-Semitic. Again, this paper, How Eurasia Was Born, reads the most plausible candidates for Semitic remigration to the Fertile Crescent, with TMRCAs fitting the arrival of the Akkadians and other early Semitic peoples, are certain subclades of both E-V22 and E-V12, with relatively early TMRCAs present in the Middle East could be candidates for such remigration, such as, and I'm not going to read all those E's, but I'll just go ahead and read it, such as E-FGC143820 TMRCAs 2200 BCE, and E-V 3262 TMRCA is 6200 BCE. And again, it says Semites, Akkadians, and early Semites migrating into the Fertile Crescent, and where it's from the Levant. So here is a map of haplogroup E samples, and it fits obviously with the area of Natufian culture, going all the way up from Israel up into Syria, up into Turkey, and you even find E samples in Armenia. And so here are all the E samples that you find. You have pre-pottery Neolithic B samples, Natufian samples. You have Middle Late Bronze Age samples, and you have this sample. I think this is from the Chalcolithic period. You have two brother samples from Megiddo, Middle Late Bronze Age. You have samples from Turkey. You have samples from Ebla, an ancient Semitic city-state. And you have a DE sample even in Syria. DE, of course, would split into D and E. You even have an Armenian sample going back to the Middle Late Bronze Age, which is interesting. You know, if you want to go with an Armenian origin, you can. I still was posed haplogroup E as being the founder. Anyways, I'm not done yet. Almost done. So you see that E would have expanded from the Levant into Mesopotamia. The oldest Levantine sample, well, the oldest E samples is in the Levant. And as you go outward, it becomes less old. It becomes, you know, more newer, more fresher. Like, for instance, this one is from 17,900 years ago, and this is from 4,600 years ago. This would be like the early Bronze Age in Mesopotamia. So you see this migration of early Semites from the Levant, like that video I showed you, into Mesopotamia. Now, why is all of this important? Well, remember,
come on, you're making all these points. That's not how you do a dialogue.
The oldest E samples are in the Levant. During the time period,
turn it over to the brother, man.
You turn it. You did it way too much.
I'm almost finished.
And so no. You did a video and everything, and you read like 2 or 3.
I'm almost finished.
Hold on.
That's disrespectful.
Avery, let's relinquish that. You made your point. So
yeah. We'll stop there, man. Yeah, we'll stop.
Yeah, let him refute.
So you didn't say how old that DEM 145 is. It's dated to 7,661 years ago in Turkey. So the Bible still places it 6,000 years ago, which refutes your belief that they were already in the land before a flood ever occurred. Now you say that E1B1B. Let's be clear. E1B1B1B1 are the progenitors of Afro-Asiatic languages. They're original people. I never, ever disagree that they were original people of the land. However, the so-called Semites, like I stated before, for those people that believe in the Bible out there, your belief is that these Semites came down from Turkey, Armenia, and they dwelt in Mesopotamia, and they came to the Levant and all those areas. Now, according to this article, that's the emergence of Y chromosome haplogroup J1E among Arabic-speaking populations. It clearly identifies as subsequently J1E lineages might have been involved in episodes of expansion of pastoralists into arid habitats, coinciding with the spread of Arabic, that's a Semitic language, and other Semitic-speaking populations. So if they created Arabic, that just proves right there that they were Semitic speakers. Their origins were Semitic, and they were speaking somewhat of a Semitic language. Now I have another article. I should be able to go to this other article since you were able to go through all those articles. This is another one. It's origin and diffusion of human Y chromosome haplogroup J1 M267. This is the abstract. You don't even have to read the whole damn thing. Haplogroup J1 M267 expanded during the Paleolithic, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. Most probably the spread of Afro-Asiatic languages, the spread of mobile pastoralism in the arid zones, or both of these events together explain the distribution of haplogroup J1 M267 we see today in southern regions of West Asia. So that's 2 freaking articles. So not all scientists or geneticists or archaeologists agree what you just said. That's the whole point.
All right, so I guess that's my my cue. So when it comes to haplogroup J, you said that basically it has Semitic speakers, right?
They called the Canaanite Semitic speakers when they're Hamites. Something just if that doesn't raise a red flag, I don't know what does, because how the hell does Hamites speak Semitic languages?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
You tell me what the Canaanites stole the Semitic language from the so-called population that was living in the land before the Canaanites? Get out of here.
It's
The
called
Egyptians
cultural.
owned that land.
It's called cultural exchange. And let me ask you this. Well,
I'll get to my next point when you're done. You shoot.
I just want to present this. Those Canaanites that you keep referring to, we know who they are.
Right.
Exactly.
They're not Canaanites. They're not as in the sense of biblical sons of Canaan. And here's the proof of that.
So y'all don't believe in the Bible, man. This is what's so confusing.
No,
that's
we're
fine.
using.
That's fine. You can say we don't believe in the Bible. That's fine. Okay, cool.
Okay.
I just want to go to the information. So,
All right, so
according to the Canaanite burials, and I won't be long, Avery. I'm gonna give it right.
No, it's all good. I need to check something out real quick.
We know exactly who these people are because they're positively what we call positively ID'd. All right. When they did the burial, everyone talks about the Canaanite burials. They never talk about who they actually are according to the record. So watch this. I'm going to share my screen. You guys are going to see this. We covered this before. This is from the Times of Israel. So you can't say BHIs wrote this. What does that say right there? The Hurrian Tides in the color purple.
So wow, I put on timeout, bud. Come on now.
I didn't put you on timeout. We can hear you.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the chat. That's hilarious, but I'm sorry.
All right. Hurrians and tides in the color purple. A possible explanation of why the peoples may have continuously migrated to the Levant might be found in the theory of the Hurrian origin of the name Canaanite itself. Hurrian was a language spoken in the northeast of the ancient Near East, possibly including the Caucasus, according to the Cell article. The entry for Canaanite in the Bialic Institute's Comprehensive Encyclopedia of Biblical states name may be related to purple dye. Writes that in the Newsy tablets, some 5,000 tablets from found in modern Iraq mostly date to the Hurrian period, 15th century BC. The Hurrian word kanaku was used for the biblical purple color argument, which is made from the murex snails. In a rather convoluted explanation, ties are made between Hurrian word for purple to the ancient Greek word for the Levant, Phoenicia, which means the land of purple. It also mentioned ancient Egyptian correspondence speaking about the capture of purple dye merchants, the Kinau, while the pharaoh was on the tour in Syria in 1428 BC. According to the online ancient history encyclopedia, theory cites Canaan as derived from the Hurrian language for purple, and as the Greeks knew the Canaanites as Phoenicians, and as the Phoenicians worked in the purple dye, so were called by the Greek purple people. For this explanation is more probable. Assuming that the Canaanites were the purple people, or at least merchants of the very valuable purple dye, that may explain the proliferation of Hurrian names of rulers and Canaanite settlements that are documented in the second millennium BC. So we know exactly who these people are. Possibly ID these people as Hurrians. These people are Hurrians. This is why they have Zagros, Caucasus, and Iranian ancestry, because that's where these Hurrians come from historically.
Thank you for reading that. Because my bad.
Oh, you got it. Go ahead. I'm passing it on to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for reading that, because that actually goes exactly right into what I'm about to get into. So when it comes to this migration of Hurrians, it was from a people known as the Core Araxes culture. So I'm going to try to make this quick. The Core Araxes culture transition existed in the highlands of the Southern Caucasus, or South Caucasus, from 3500 BC to 2450 BC before the Christian era. By 3000 BCE, groups bearing this identity had migrated southwest across a wide area from the Tartarus Mountains down into the southern Levant, southeast along the Zagros Mountains, and north across the Caucasus Mountains. This is why I say when it comes to people in the Caucasus and around, you have other groups there. Anyways, in this new place, they became effectively ethnic groups amid already heterogeneous societies. This paper addresses the place of migrants along local populations as ethnicities and the reasons for their disappearances in the diaspora after 2450 BCE. This is from early Bronze Age migrants and ethnicity in the Middle Eastern mountain zone. So here's another paper that deals with the migration of the Corax's culture. It says Coho argues that while the number of Corax settlements decreased in the Southern Caucasus, archaeological research indicates that the Corax's culture spread to Western Iran in the Zagros region and to the Levant. That's the key thing. And to the Levant, these Corax's people migrated to the Levant. In Coho's view, as new ethnic groups of people moved in, the Corax's communities abandoned the Southern Caucasus and moved further south, where some of them already resided. And this fits with the DNA. This is from How Eurasia Was Born. It reads, the Northeast Caucasian language family seems to show a clear link to ancient Eastern Anatolia, as most subclades of J1-Z1842 TMRCA's 4300 BCE can be linked to the Armenian highlands and present-day Azerbaijan, precisely fitting the exact location of what? The Kora-Araxes culture, 3400 BCE through 2000 BCE. Three subclades of it, J1-ZS3042 TMRCA's 3500 BCE, J1-ZS5658 TMRCA's 800 BCE, J1-ZS2872 2800 BCE, and J1-Z5353 TMRCA's 2500 BCE are widespread among Northeast Caucasian groups, suggests Northeast Caucasian languages to have originated from the Kora-Araxes culture, as ancient J1 subclades also seem to have been present in the ancient Levant as well. This is J1 was brought in from Kora-Araxes people. This supports the existence of the Alduin language family, linking Hurrian to Northeast Caucasian, Hurrian Kora-Araxes peoples coming into the Levant. What does EUpedia say about Middle East regional DNA?
Bro, come on, man. You making all these
This
statements
was
again,
the
bro.
birthplace of
Nah, that's
metallurgy,
good. I got the
two
idea.
great Bronze Age.
All right, let this be his last one. Then
from
you
the
respond.
Hypocopiumnia and Coraxes cultures expanded far and wide and reshaped the landscape of Western Eurasia. South Caucasians would have belonged to Y DNA haplogroup J1 and J2, later associated with the Kora-Araxes culture. Those are not Semites, those are Caucasians, speaking of Kora-Araxes, Hurrian, Oratrian language. I can go deeper.
All right, so from this point on, we're going to time this. Danooi, when it's your turn, you're going to get a certain amount of minutes to speak. When it's Avery's turn, he's going to get a certain amount of minutes to speak. That way, you can't complain about how long someone's going. It's going on and on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call time. All right.
But let me talk first. That's because this is his first debate, correct? Just be fair.
No, this isn't our first debate.
No. What I said, this is the Hebrew of Israel. This is his first debate. I saw
I've debated people in the past. I've debated people.
Well,
in the past.
You don't know how to do a dialogue because you say something, you let the other person have a say. You can't just say keep on going, keep going, and keep going, keep going. I already know that haplogroup J1 and J2 have different cultures. You see what I'm saying? I know that Ham and Shem and Japheth, they're all brothers. They would have all been the same. Y'all try to make it where haplogroup is at Noah and he produced all these. I don't believe in all of that. Like I said, like y'all said, y'all don't believe in the Bible. You've already stated you don't believe.
I believe in the Bible. What are you talking about?
No, you don't. You don't believe in the Bible because you don't
tell me what I believe in, dude. You can't tell me what. I can say you believe in Vishnu.
No, you don't believe that the earth is 6,000 years old, which goes against the Torah. It goes against the fundamental belief.
That's your personal interpretation.
6,000 years old. No, that's not personal interpretation. That's exactly how old the earth has been traced using the Bible's understanding of how old the earth is and how old
Then why are we talking about haplogroups?
Huh?
Then why are we talking about haplogroups if you don't believe?
Because I'm on here to educate people. Because obviously somebody
you're educating people in something that you don't believe in. That's like believing in Santa Claus and then telling people not to believe in Santa Claus.
Why would I be telling people not to believe in Santa Claus if I believe in them?
It's
bro.
That's
completely opposite of what I just said.
Metaphor.
I used to believe in the Torah, bro. You don't even know my last name. You don't know my lineage or anything. You don't know. You have no idea.
Why
That's the
are
reason
you,
why
if you
people
don't
believe.
believe that the earth is more than 6,000 years old, why are you debating this topic? That's what I'm
Because
saying.
you prove to me y'all don't believe the earth is 6,000 years old. You don't believe in the Torah. That's the whole point.
Okay, but why do you
All
care
right,
what we
back to
believe,
topic.
though?
Back to topic. Please, Genesis 49ers. Let's do the time thing. Back to topic.
All right, I'm about to start your time.
This is a weird conversation. Why do you even care what we believe?
You want 10 minutes?
Because y'all are delusional. You
That's
saying
fine.
that's why
That's
brother
fine. That's okay.
Garfield
We're
been calling
delusional.
y'all out. Y'all delusional. Then you
You're
got
right.
the nerve to
You're right,
call him
brother.
a
You're right.
vagina.
We delusional. You're right. What? How much time you want? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? How much time do you need?
It shouldn't take that long to talk. You should be able to talk 2 to 3 minutes, and that's it. If you can't make your point clear by reading an article,
I need my
where it
minutes.
comes from,
I need
of
my
course
minutes.
you need more than
both
time.
of y'all gotta agree on it. Both of y'all gotta agree on the time. 10,
Give me 5 minutes. I
5
probably
minutes.
do it.
All right, I'm setting the
You
clock
don't need
now.
5 minutes. You need 2 to 3 minutes.
No,
I
you
mean,
just
that's
don't want
how
me to read my sources. You don't want me to
Let's
read.
do 5 minutes. Let's just do 5 minutes and just move on. And
I don't have time for that. We already running an hour and something. I don't have time for that. I'm about to go run. I got stuff to do.
all right,
Well, I
so
got
do
stuff to do
you want to come back on another day and we can finish this discussion?
Sure, but we got to find out what exactly our topic, because we've been everywhere right now. We're going everywhere.
The basic premise is E versus J is being Semitic. That's what we agreed to last night, brother. Which one is Semitic? That's all.
We've already stated which one's Semitic. It was J. It's Hobbler Group J.
Wait, what?
All right. So when are you available to continue this conversation? And we can do it more structured next time you're available.
Anytime. I'm an Army veteran, so I get paid to chill at the house because I done been through some things.
All right, I understand that. Okay, so Avery, is tomorrow good for you, or do you need another day?
No, I got a paper that's due, 3-page paper. So no.
I got a question. Please let me answer this. Ask this question. Why is it when I ask you if you're college educated, if you're educated or not, you refused to tell me? You didn't want to tell me.
Because I wanted to tell you face to face. You kept on blowing up my chat.
But when I told you let's go live right now, you refused.
Oh, you refused, dude.
You refused. We set a time.
I'm not debating this. Whatever.
I got the chat. I got the chat snipped.
I don't care. It doesn't matter, dude. Let's not act like women and just go on and on. Let's just stop.
I agree. I don't want to be drama either, but I mean, hey, I'm just speaking the facts.
Okay, so when can you all right, what's a good day for both of y'all to come back on here and continue this discussion?
I should be done with my midterms after March 1st. I have a midterm that's due that day, but I should be free then. And I'm actually out for spring break from the 11th though to the 21st. But if you want to do it as soon as possible, I would say March 2nd.
No, whatever works, you know what I'm saying? Because he got to do daytime. So if you want to wait to spring break and we can have a formal debate, 15 minutes. I want him to have a presentation next time though, man. Presentation versus presentation.
Yeah, we got to figure out what's going on, why I'm not able to share, but he's able to share the screen, because that makes no sense.
Hold on, let me show you something. This is what should happen. Pay attention to my screen. So this is what you see when you open up StreamYard, right?
Yeah, it gives me
that
that
button
option.
share. You click the button share, right?
Yeah, that's what I did.
What happens after that?
It says choose what to source. I click on the source or the window. You can choose a window. I click on that and I share, and it says Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. I go to settings, the settings, and it doesn't, like, it's already checked. Like when I look for Chrome, it's already checked. I have permission to share my screen, but it's not allowing me to do it.
So when you click this, and and then it will tell you slides. It'll tell you what else would it say?
No, I wasn't ready. In the Nehemiah for blocking my chat, that was trash because I can multitask. I served in the Army. I know how to do more than one thing at once.
Got you. But I'm trying to figure out why your screen's not working. That's what I'm trying to get you right now.
I got you.
So once you get to here, what happens after you click one of these options? What happens then? It should be a window that opens and it tells you to select the screen. And then after it says select the screen, there should be a blue button on the bottom right that says confirm. Right? Are you following me?
Yeah.
Do you see it?
It's still not allowing me.
Share screen. Then you select. You actually have to select the window. You have to actually select.
I did. That's exactly what I described. I selected the window and it still doesn't. Like I say, you can do it entire screen or you can do window and you can do which screen you want. I did. I shared it and it says Chrome has lost permission to capture. So I don't know why. I mean, it is what it is.
That's weird.
You know?
That's something on your end, bro.
I know. I mean, if it's on my end, but something's blocking me from doing it. I don't know if you gave me permission, if that works or not. I'm looking at my security and privacy, and it shows that my screen has permission. So
there's got to be.
I don't know. I'll restart my computer, and we'll try it next time. Maybe.
Oh, he dropped out. So I'm gonna bring everybody up. You know what I'm saying? He said he got to leave anyway. Hopefully we can figure something out. Next time they debate, we'll try to do more of a formal style. But he wanted to talk about, getting stuff off his chest. So we kind of did it informally today. So hopefully when Avery's ready and we can both align and find a great time for this brother to come back, we'll love to have him on and discuss. We don't mind debating or arguing these topics. Anyone can get on here and debate us. So I'm just going to let all my people up. Sorry.
Shalom, Shari, shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, he's back. Oh, I thought something happened.
Yeah, it just kicked me off.
Yeah,
my Chrome.
I
just
can't
shut
tell you
down.
what's. I wish I knew what was going on, man. I don't know. There's something on your end.
All right, so there's another article. We should leave it at that because he got the ability to go all through those articles and talk. But the main problem is when it comes to ancient DNA from the Neolithic, Israel reveals the role of population mixture in culture transmission. It clearly identifies which the people that were the Israelites during that time.
We don't have Israelite remains, dude.
Yes, we do, bro.
No,
you don't know. Just because you don't have it, you don't know. They have it. You have to download the Excels, open it up, and you can see which one belonged to what. You can see there's a lot of J1As in that area.
We don't have Israelite remains.
I can give you the ones.
I'm going to end it there. We don't have it.
I know you're running. This finding contrasts with both earlier Neolithic and Epipaleolithic Levantine populations, which were dominated by haplogroup.
The Israelites didn't exist in that.
And later, be quiet. The truth coming out. And later, Bronze Age individuals are who belong to haplogroup J.
Israelites aren't Bronze Age either.
Yes, they are, you dumbass. They're later Bronze Age, Iron Age, you dumb shit. I knew
the Israelites are Iron Age people.
Yes, they are. If you look up what age were the Israelites in Canaan, you would see.
All right, so listen. Hold on.
Oh, if I could reach to this computer.
Why are you so mad?
Hey, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Hold on. One at a time, y'all. All right, so we at the end of our discussion, debate log, whatever you want to call it. Right now, it's just gonna be an open discussion. You said you have to leave here in a minute. Anybody got questions for the brother? Go ahead. Open panel. Just be respectable.
Why are you screaming? Yeah. Why are you screaming? Why are you screaming and cursing?
That's why he brought up that article and he lied about it. That's why. He said that the Israelites weren't later Bronze Age, Iron Age. That is a lie. And for somebody that don't believe in the Bible, I am not surprised.
They aren't Bronze Age. They aren't. They're not Bronze Age.
They are later Bronze Age. The Canaanites were Bronze Age.
And also, we don't have Israelite remains.
Yes, we do. It's tailgate though. Yes, we do have the remains. You got to download the Excel file to see it all.
Bro, relax. You can make your point without.
Stop lying because that's what you're good at. You're good at lying.
Okay, what article can I go to see the Israelite remains?
Did I just not say which one it was?
Type it in the chat. Type in the title.
Please.
And if you don't have access, that's on you. You have to have Athens access. That's why I asked this brother, the Hebrew of Israel, if he had college access. He had no idea what I was asking that for. If he would have just asked me, why you want to know? I want to know if you have college access.
I don't tell people my personal life like that.
Bro, I have a college degree. I have a few college degrees. What are you talking about? I'm an Army veteran. I don't care. You know, what, you gonna find me? Good luck fighting me, bud. I mean, it is what it is.
I didn't say that. So what are you talking about?
We're not saying our names or our faces, so good luck with that.
All right.
All right, so I want to.
And what exactly is this article saying again?
While he's getting that, James, I'm just going to pull up information to prove what period Israelites belong in. We just give sources here. Everything else is fine, I guess, but we're bringing source material to validate and cement our points. So let me see if this is it right here. Yeah, here it is. So this is from antiquities.org. It says clearly here the Iron Age also is referred to as the Israelite period. Is ascribed to a time period from 1200 to 586 BCE and is divided into two chronological and cultural phases. Iron Age 1, 1200 to 1000 BCE, is characterized by the decline of the Canaanite culture of the late Bronze Age and the appearance of new ethnic components, namely the tribes of Israel, the Philistines, and the Sea Peoples. So the Israelites would indeed, when they become an ethnic component, ethnic group, they hit the world stage, it would be within the Iron Age.
And brother, Genesis 49, that's a good, if you want to have me for a topic about the Sea Peoples, I'm all for that. And how Ramses III enslaved these people, and they actually had so-called Israelites, the Dinyan or the Danooi. I'm all for that, brother. You heard it here.
Now, I mean, we can have discussions anytime you want, man. You're welcome to come on the channel. I don't mind. I just wanted to bring forth information. That's all.
Well, I was kind of afraid at first because especially when I saw you called that brother Garfield a pussy, I was like, oh, this guy is hardcore. You know, I can't believe he called him that. Like this brother Garfield got a degree from Michigan State and all. I'm like, damn, this brother's educated during Black History Month. Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. But my business between me and Garfield go back years, so you wouldn't understand.
Ah, so it's an insider trade. This is what I see.
And them brothers that said worse things about me. They love trying to play like they angels. But it is what it is.
I honestly didn't like being talked behind my back. I would have loved to do a debate, but changing up the time slots to do it, I got things to do. You see what I'm saying? Just like all y'all brothers and sisters got things to do. I got things to do too.
Hey, look, man, you EV13, you E family. From my worldview, you family in my eyes. So I don't, regardless, whatever happens, happen. I don't care. You can come back on the channel. We set up a debate and go from there, bro. But, you know, we're going to do it more structured next time. It's not going to be free flowing like it was today. You're going to have your time. Avery going to have his time. We're going to move on from that.
Yeah.
All right. So right now, we're just going to do an open panel segment. Anybody can speak, ask questions, just be respectful and cordial. So not all at once. Not all at once. Let me see. Sean, do you have anything you want to add? Commentary?
Actually, I don't. It's just getting too emotional for me. You know what I mean? I'll fall back until the next time the young brother come back on.
All right, my brother James, you have anything you want to add? Commentary, questions, or anything for the brother?
Yeah, I just want to see this outline where in this article I can find the Israelite remains he was talking about, and you know what's the genetic analysis on them. Because from my understanding, the article he's given us is about the Chalcolithic period. Yes, it uses the name Israel, but it's talking about a geographical location, not the people Israel. So I'm just trying to figure out where in this article does it show these Israelite bodies he's speaking about.
All right, so the answer to that is if you go look up the give me a second while I pull this up, because everything crashed like I told you when my Chrome shut down for some weird reason.
You can also just type it in if you want. Just type in the title.
Nah, I got it. I want everybody to take this down because that Razib Khan, that guy, I never seen somebody tap dance around genetic evidence ever in my life, but that guy is the greatest tap dancer ever. But it's the source is ancient DNA sheds light on the genetic origins of early Iron Age Philistines. And if you go down, it's probably like halfway, you'll see a drop-down menu. And you're gonna have to open it.
I don't mean to stop you, but you gave me an article and said that this was the article it's in. I pulled up the article.
Yeah, you see it. It says Hobblegoo J. I said it already. I read that one already. It said that Hobblegoo J was the ones that came in during the later Bronze Age. That's the Israelite period. They came in during the later Bronze Age. Let me read it again for you, brother. This finding contrasts with both earlier Neolithic and
where does it say those are Israelite graves?
I'm reading.
Okay, go ahead.
This finding contrasts with both earlier Neolithic and Epipaleolithic Levantine populations, which were dominated by Haplogroup E. I never denied that Haplogroup E was original. I said that they were always there. But if you read this last part, and later Bronze Age individuals, all of whom belong to Haplogroup J.
It said early Bronze Age.
No, bro. If you go and you
hey, wait a minute, but that has nothing to do with my question. That has nothing to do with my question.
That is your question.
Wait, brother, how you gonna tell me what my question is?
Yes, that you
my question was about. Wait a minute, brother. My question was about. You said that they were verified Israelite burials. That's just Haplogroup J. It doesn't say these are Israelite graves. Nowhere.
Bro, if you look up Giddo, it was a Canaanite city. It became an Israelite city. When they did the DNA, they found Haplogroup J amongst R1B, which they claimed was Canaanite. That's the whole concept with Ben Yehuda, the former prime minister of Israel.
So it's not Israelite, it's Canaanite?
Give me a second. No.
Exactly.
Don't say it because it's not. It was Israelites. They were Israelites and Canaanites. All
okay, then tell me where in the article it says. Tell me where in the article it says these are Israelite burials.
I don't think you could comprehend English. Tell Megiddo was an Israelite city. It was a former
I understand that, but the Israelites took that city. If we're going to make an argument, the Israelites came in at the very tail end of the Bronze Age during the late Bronze Age collapse. That's when they first came into Canaan. They were not a political entity until Iron Age. That's when you have the political entity of Israel. So what you gave me before either one. Wait a minute, I'm almost done. What you gave me was before either one of those periods.
I just gave you the document that says that the Israelites came. That's where the Israelites came in the later Bronze Age.
It said early Bronze Age. I'm looking at it right now.
No. It's later Bronze Age, and not only that, you have J2 that came in there in the early Bronze Age. J2 and J1 are.
Let's show it up. Hold on. Somebody put it on.
Now I gotta show my source.
Put it on the screen. Put it on the screen, please. Put it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm about to put it on the screen right now because he's playing games.
Thank you.
I'm not playing no damn games, guy.
All right.
Stop cursing and getting emotional. We're going to go through
I ain't getting emotional. Don't call me out of my name.
Nobody called you out your name.
Yeah, okay. He just said that I'm just making up shit.
All right,
that sounds like a liar.
That's not calling
out a name.
Just relax, please, bro, and
I'm relaxed. It's already been proven in this video that y'all don't believe in the Bible. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
Share your information, Avery.
All right, there it is right there. That's the paper that he's talking about. And here's another one, too. There's this one, but there's also...
No. Let's read that.
No. Don't change. Hold on.
Go to that paper. I want to identify where it says that the Israelites.
Yeah, okay.
Where's the part that he is reading? Where's the part that he is reading? Where is it?
It's basically from what I underlined, from like the red to the blue part. That's basically what he's reading. That's basically it.
Danooi, is that what you were reading?
It's Danooi. And what that proves
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm just going to call you D. Is it all right? Hold on. Is it all right if I just call you D?
You can call.
I don't want to get into an argument about how I pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I'm chopping your name up. I don't want to get into an argument about that. Okay?
No.
So is it all right if I call you D?
This is good edification because that Danooi, you're gonna find out if brother Genesis 49ers, if we do a conversation about the sea peoples, you're gonna find out that Danooi is important when it comes to so-called Israelites.
Okay,
We
so I need you to
understand.
read.
But move on.
I need you to show us.
No, don't tell me what
Here's
to
the
do,
article.
bro. Not you, but the other guy.
Brother
Don't tell
D.
me.
Brother D.
Yeah.
Brother D. This is the article here. I'd like you to show me what you're talking about in this article.
It says the later Bronze Age individuals, all of whom belong to haplogroup J. It
What
don't
part
say
is-
J2. It don't say J1. We
Who
know
are
that
these
J2.
later Bronze Age
Oh,
individuals?
God,
I'm the
bro.
one who initially asked the question. I'm the one who initially asked the question. You can't be mad at the person who initially asked the question.
I'm not
We're
getting
trying to get
mad, but you're
clarification.
interrupting what I'm saying. If you go to those two articles, there's all evidence that J2 and J1 were around the
Brother, I
Canaanites.
read the whole article.
God, bro.
That's why I asked.
And can we go to the next question? Because I just gave another link. If you want to post and show the results for the Philistine
No,
DNA,
we're not going to go to
see
another
haplogroup
question.
J. You're going to see
Okay,
haplogroup
well,
J,
that's fine.
man.
We have
That's fine.
Haplogroup J is proving that they are
He wants to move on. Wait a minute. He wants to move on. We're going to move on. But I just want to say for the record, he could not answer the question. He could not
Yes, I
prove
can.
those
That is
are Israelite
absolutely
burials.
wrong.
Okay.
Tell
So please.
Megiddo is an
Then
Israelite
read
city.
the article where it says those are Israelite
Megiddo
bodies.
was
Just read that in the article and I will shut up.
Tell
Why am I
Megiddo,
struggling?
the
Why am
people
I
living in
Megiddo was
Israel
a
were called
Horian.
Israelites,
Hold
guys.
on.
It don't matter if they were mixed
Megiddo
race
was
or
a
not. They were
Horian,
called
dude.
Israelites.
Megiddo.
On, please. Hold on, please.
All right, now I got to pull up my other.
I need clarity. Why am I struggling? Why am I struggling right now just for clarity?
Because
No,
don't
not stop
post-
talking.
I'm gonna help.
D.
I'm gonna help him out.
D.
I'm gonna help everybody out right here. Let me just go
D,
to
I
the
need
article.
you to stop talking. Just hear me out.
I'm gonna help everybody out, y'all. This is the article that he's referring to. They give you the timestamps. The timestamps that they're referring to with the J markers is here. Lazarus all showed that the Levant Bronze Age population, that's what he was referring to, from the site of Ain Gasal, Jordan, that's the time, 2490 to 2300 BCE, can fit statistically as a mixture, around 56% ancestry from a group related to Levantine pre-pottery Neolithic agriculturalists, represented by ancient DNA from Matzah, Israel, and Ain Gasal, 8300 to 6700 BCE. These will be E markers, by the way. And 44% related to populations of Iranian Chalcolithic. From Iran, 4,680 to...
So it's not talking about Iron Age Israel?
No.
Wow, you people are so okay. If you live in Israel, you're called an Israelite. You see what I'm saying? That's
Oh my goodness! Everybody's Israelite.
That does not mean you're an Israelite.
Well,
yes, it does.
It does not. It means you're an
It
Israeli.
does.
This is before this is before the Israelite people matriculated and became a ethnic profile. This is
It's
before
not.
that.
It says
This is
later
That's before Jacob was born.
This is even before the birth of Abraham. This is the Chalcolithic.
No, bro,
Abraham
it's
didn't
later
even
Bronze Age. Don't make me making up shit. It says fucking later Bronze Age.
Whoa.
I just read it to you, Danooi.
Hey, you don't have to curse, but the timelines were literally there. The timelines were literally there, brother. You don't have to curse nobody out.
Exactly. Timelines are literally there. If you go to Tel Megiddo, fucking Israel, you're
But
gonna
it
see
didn't
that
say.
was
Wait a minute. What? Okay, can you tell me what time the Israelites came into Canaan? Can you tell me that? What time was that?
Yeah.
I want a number date. When was that?
during the transition from the late Bronze to the early Iron Age.
Can I get a number? Can I get a number?
Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. Probably about 1250 BCE, the Israelites enter Canaan, settling at first in the hill country in the south.
Thank you. Yeshua, can you read those dates again and then tell me if one of those dates, if that falls within 1200 BC?
Yeah, the Levant Bronze Age population they're talking about here in Ain Gasal in Jordan is 2490 to 2300 BCE. So this is about 1100 to 1200 years before the known Israelite period, which is
no,
Iron
it's
1
not.
and Iron 2.
But go back up to what I said earlier.
Not. Wait, what?
It says later Bronze Age. Don't
let
change
him
the
speak.
subject. Later Bronze Age.
Okay, continue, Yeshua, please, to the other dates. There's more than one set of dates there.
Yeah, and when you're done, Yeshua, I actually got something on Megiddo.
Well, the other dates are showing the admixture. So the E markers will be older, and they're still there during 2400, 2300 BCE. representing 56% of the ancestry. And then your J markers coming from the Iranian Chalcolithic will represent 44% of the population during this time in the Levant Bronze Age period.
Right. And now you should.
Okay, I got one quick question for the brother. Oh, go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead.
You should, if you don't mind, can you share my screen really quick? And so as for the whole Megiddo situation, we know the people of Megiddo in that time period. They were also Hurrians. This is from National Geographic. Royal burial in ancient Canaan may shed new light on biblical city. So let's read it. Researchers are particularly intrigued by the origin of Megiddo's ruling class since diplomatic correspondence with Egypt in the 14th century BC. Following the conquest by Thutmose III reveals the king of Megiddo at that time did not have a Semitic traditional Canaanite name, but rather a Hurrian name, Baradia. I may have butchered that.
What does this got to do with later Bronze Age, bro?
This is the Bronze Age. This is the Bronze Age.
Where does it say later Bronze Age? Where does it state? You just said it. Show it where it says later Bronze Age.
Do you know when the 14th century was?
No. You said it says later Bronze Age. You show me where it says that right there.
It says 14th century BC. What
It's
year?
right
What time period would that be, D? What time period would that be, D?
Do you not know what this is?
Let me read. Hold on, Erie,
Okay.
hold on. D, are you there?
He's
D?
probably looking up the
You gotta Google real quick. Let him Google.
What just happened? What just happened?
Let him do it. Let him look it up.
Did we
It
lose
says
him?
14th century BC. What time period is that when you come back?
That's the
I don't
late
have a
Bronze.
problem with you Googling it.
That's the end of the Bronze Age.
Right.
Because the Iron Age
We
started
know that,
1200.
but he needs to look it up.
And that's Megiddo, a Hurrian city.
Wrong. Okay, so the Bronze
How
Age.
is that wrong?
Give me a second. Damn, bro. The Bronze Age collapse, also known as the Late Bronze Age collapse, is a modern-day term referring to the decline and fall of major Mediterranean civilizations during the 13th and 12th centuries BCE. So those people in the 14th BCE, they might have been indigenous. They might have been haplogroup EN34, haplogroup 84, haplogroup 123. Who knows? They were indigenous. But what I'm saying,
it shows it right here that they're Hurrians. Well, we're not talking about all the Levant. We're just talking about Megiddo being Hurrian and having J markers.
So were the Hurrians Canaanites? You tell me, were the Hurrians Canaanites?
What does this paper say? What does this paper say?
No. Don't use the paper. Use
According
the
to you, it would be yes, because you say anyone who lives in the land of Canaan is a Canaanite.
Exactly. Actually, yeah, they are, according to you. That's true.
Are the Hurrians Canaanites? You tell me. I want to know about it. Are they Canaanites?
That's just like saying, are the Western Europeans Native Indians because they came over here and blended in with Native Indians? That's just like saying that. No, they're not.
Say again. Sorry, say that again.
That's just like saying, are Western Europeans Native Indians because they came over here and blended with the Native Indian populations? That doesn't make them
classified as Native American though, because of that term. That's what I brought up earlier, is that there's a difference between Aborigines, Indigenous, and Native. We're all Native to America now. I was born here in Florida. I'm a Native American because I was born here.
Gotcha, but I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to Aboriginal when I say that, right?
Okay.
I'm talking about actual people that were living here before, having their own cultures, having their own bloodlines, patrilines and matrilines before Western Europeans set foot on American soil, right? So it's just like saying that they are themselves the Aboriginals. They're not. They're people that came in, messed with them.
I agree. J1 and J2 came in and they took over. They absorbed the culture that was already there. That's pre-flood.
Thank you.
I agree that EM84, EM34, E123 are pre-biblical people. They were already in the land. There were no Semites, no Hamites, none of that Japhites. Black people couldn't be referred to freaking Hamites because that was the racist knowledge that later came on during Eurocentric beliefs that Ham was Cush because they were cursed. And it was Canaan. It was Canaan that was cursed. I agree 100%. Let's just clarify that.
You think that Hamites and Cushites are Caucasians, right?
Say again?
You believe Hamites and Cushites are Caucasians, right?
I believe that the Hamites carry haplogroup J just like the Semites do, and that they were related. That's what I believe. Get it right. I believe that. I believe
So
that they were all related.
you don't
like
believe in patrilineal descent?
Say again?
You don't believe in patrilineal descent? Oh, wait. You don't. Okay, so you don't accept. Wait, quick. Hear me out before you answer. Wait, you got to know what I'm asking before you answer me. So you don't believe in anything whatsoever that the Bible says whatsoever. You don't believe in it at all.
I have my Y chromosome. I'm not sure if you've been here for the whole conversation. I have my Y chromosome and my maternal DNA. I know it takes two to tango, and for you to tell me that only one side makes you a Jew, that is absolutely wrong. They did not believe in intermingling, and they refused to accept the people that had non-Jewish women after they came back from Babylon captivity. That destroys every single doctrine of the whole concept of you can marry a foreign woman.
Wait. So you're saying that after the Babylon captivity, the marriages? Wait, hold on. The marriages that was dissolved. The marriages that was dissolved by the Jews marrying foreign women. You're saying that didn't happen? The mass divorce that Ezra performed. You just said that after the Babylonian captivity, you said that something about the wives that they married. Are you talking about the mass divorce that Ezra performed on performed with Israel men and the foreign women. So if it takes two to tango, why did he divorce? Why did he divorce?
And they kicked out the foreign women.
So how
let's say the verses, brother. Let's say the verses for everybody to understand what we're talking about, because this is the biblical context. It's Ezra chapter 10, verses 1 through 44, Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 23 through 31. So everybody can have the sources. This is the reason why Jewish people claim that the descent is through the woman, because the concept they believe is that if you marry a Gentile woman, she's going to lead your children astray, because the woman is known to raise the children. You see what I'm saying? The children is going to follow whatever the mother says. So if the mother's feeding them pork, whatever they were eating during those times, there was people eating dogs during those times. If the woman comes with that doctrine of eating whatever you can eat and worshiping whatever you want to worship, she's going to lead your children astray. And that goes against the Shema, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 6.
I mean, the reason why the Jews traced through the mother really came in the Roman period, because they were getting raped by Roman men, and they were giving birth to like half Jewish kids. And they're like, is my kid really a Jew? So what they did was just trace it through the mother. That's why Jews, Ashkenazi more specifically, trace through the mother.
That's not what.
From the Roman race.
I agree with you
ask
saying.
Any Jew. They will tell you.
No, I agree. The Jews tell me. The Jews tell me because of that.
Stop yelling.
And I'm stating my point. I'm trying to talk over people because I had a point. I have a chance to educate, edify.
We're going to give you a chance to talk. You're going to get your chance to talk. Stop talking over people. You're going to speak. We've been allowing you to speak.
No, I
just
got
stop.
you.
Just stop yelling. Stop with the yelling. Stop. You don't have to do that.
It's actually not yelling. I just speak really loud. It's from my time when I was
were yelling, bro. There's a difference. Because right now you're talking. Right now you're speaking nice and calm. Okay. So we know the difference between yelling and you talking and you speaking calm. Right now you're calm. So just please, all right, let somebody finish what they have to say, and then we're going to allow you to speak.
Yeah, so my only point is, I'm going to make this quick. The Jews, specifically the Ashkenazi, do the whole mother situation because they're getting raped by Roman women. They're getting raped by Roman men. Any Jew can tell you this. I have Jewish friends that literally tell me this, that the reason why it's in the Talmud and stuff like that is because they had to adopt this practice because they were getting raped by a bunch of Roman men. And when they had the babies, they were like, is my kid really Jewish? So the rabbi said, hey, we're going to trace it through the mother instead of through the father. You can ask any Jew this.
That's not what they go based off of. That's not what they go based off of.
They don't go. D, is that biblical?
No, because Because if you see, as I stated in Ezra, the chapters that I gave, that's what they believe in. Now later on, it might change to that, but you got to remember what Jewish books that you know of that the Jews themselves believes in to state, oh, we stopped doing that. We start going based off of the mother because the women started getting raped. Where can you find that in the Tanakh?
It's in the Mishnah.
It's in the Mishnah. Is that the Tanakh?
Okay, but I got a question for you. I got
All
a
right.
question for you, D.
Okay.
Is going through the mother to going through the mother's lineage biblical and knowing who Israel is? Is that biblical?
When did I ever state that?
All right, but the question that you're asking Avery is, where is it in the Tanakh? Like it's basically the same question you're asking. Now I didn't say you said that, but
Okay.
I'm asking, is
I
it
Brother, I just want to clarify because people can take things
going
out
by
of,
the mother lineage biblical to find out who's Jewish?
I want to make sure people don't take that out of construct, because if you go to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3 and 4, it clearly states, do not make marriages with them. Do not give your daughter to their sons, and don't take their daughters for your sons. That's pure racism. That's
okay.
racist.
You didn't answer my question though. My question to you.
I did answer your question. That's
no.
what
Let me finish. No, my question to you is, how does the Bible? Let me rephrase the question.
Okay.
How does the Bible follow the lineage of Israel?
From the Torah alone, or I already know it's based off the father. The whole, but that was only the Israelites. The Israelites only. You don't know what the Moabites were practicing. You don't know what the Canaanites
not talking about the Moabites. I'm not talking about the Moabites. We're talking about Israel. You're gish galloping now. I just asked you a simple question. How do we find the lineage of Israel? Do we go through the mother or the father biblically?
I done told you, in order to be Jewish, because
you said that we go through the father, right? Biblically?
The way that they did it is you don't make marriages with the Gentiles, like I just read, and it is talking about the Canaanites during that time, but this is what Jews believe in. That's why I gave you the books already.
I asked you biblically. I didn't ask you what the Jews believe. I asked you biblically.
What of Deuteronomy 7, 3 through 4 don't you understand?
Okay, you're not. How do we trace the lineage? When they trace the lineage from Adam, when they trace the lineage down from Adam to Enoch, from Enoch, well, let's stay with Israel. How does the Bible follow lineage? How does the Bible follow? Through the father, right?
Let's clarify. The people have already said they don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe Shem ever existed. So Shem's out the window. You're
scalloping again. We do believe in the Bible. You
keep
making that claim.
No. He said it. He said it that he doesn't believe in the Bible.
I'll tell you why he said it. I'll tell you why he said it. You know why he said it? Because you kept making a claim, and just to move on and not argue with you, he just said, "Okay, fine. We don't believe the Bible." Because you kept making that claim.
That sounds pretty convincing. I would never state that if I believe the Bible, brother.
All right, well, that's you. He did that because you continuously arguing, and he just wanted to move on to the question. He wanted to move on to the question at hand.
It's not arguing. Let me say, you just said something. Let me finish too with that. If you don't believe in the 6,000 year Earth, if you don't believe that the Earth has a what is it called, like a glass, a dome over it, like the flat Earth depictions. If you don't believe stuff like that, how can you believe in the Bible? If you don't believe a flood happened like worldwide, how can you believe the Bible, which we know there was no worldwide flood? I stated already in this interview or this debate that the flood was the Black Sea hypothesis, because it didn't used to be a Black Sea. It was a freshwater lake.
Hey, you believe in the Bible? Can I just go to the Bible real quick, because he said something about not being able to marry outside of the Israelite lineage.
And I know Ephraim, Joseph married an Egyptian woman. I know.
I'm not going to that.
It contradicts itself.
I know, brother.
No, the Bible does not contradict itself.
It does contradict itself.
Well,
because it says not to be marriages with them.
You're contradicting yourself.
Danooi, pay attention. Watch this, Danooi. Danooi, watch this.
I don't believe in the Bible.
Okay, fine. 1 Chronicles 2, and when you go to the part about I think it's Jeremiah, or no, let me see. The descendants of Caleb. Let me see if I find it. Right here. Remember what you said. You can't. marry
I
anybody,
didn't say
right?
that. The Torah says that. Get it right. I didn't say that. The Torah says that.
See what that
Don't say
says
I
there?
said it.
These were all the descendants of Jeremiah. Now, this is a descendant of Judah. It says, Shishon had no sons, though he did have daughters. He also had an Egyptian servant. Now, this is Hebraic law. This is Near Eastern law and custom, where if you don't have any sons, no
Right.
rightful heirs, and all daughters, you can marry your daughter off to a servant. This is not an Israelite. This is an Egyptian servant named Jarha. Shishon gave one of his daughters to be wife of Jarha, and they had a son named Attai. And it even lists out his descendants.
That's
Attai
great,
was
but
the father
how does the Bible know what the Egyptians were practicing if the Egyptians didn't write the Bible?
Wait, what?
What?
You're saying that this is Egyptians, but how is it Egyptians if they didn't write if they didn't have
Oh,
no
it's an
say in the
Egyptian
Bible?
servant who married an Israelite woman.
And
That's
what did I already state? You're not supposed to make marriages with them, so they already sinned. They already went
It
against
never
what's
said.
in
It never
Deuteronomy
said.
7.
It never said you couldn't
Deuteronomy
make
7.
marriages with Egyptians. It said.
Yes, it says do not make marriages with the Gentiles. Any Gentiles, anybody
We're
that
only
is not
forbidden to make marriages with Canaanites.
they were Gentiles.
Where is that
And
written
they
at?
did make marriages
Where's that
with
written at?
Canaanites. Let's clarify that. They did make marriages with
No, can you
Canaanites.
show? No. Slow down. I need book, chapter, and verse that says you can't marry any heathens. I know it says I can't marry any Canaanites or anybody that was in Canaan. It left leeway for me to marry Edomites and Egyptians, who are both heathens. That's in the Torah. So where does it say I cannot marry any heathens? Only thing it doesn't tells me not to marry is Canaanites.
Why are you saying heathen for? Why are you going based off of Eurocentric? Like that's not what the Hebrew stood for. It didn't stand for
Don't you
heathen.
believe
You
you?
said you used the term heathen.
I said
I got
Gentile,
it from
not
you.
heathen. Don't
That's
put
why I
words in my
used it.
mouth, brother. Don't
I know
put
I got
words
it from
in
you
my
though.
mouth.
Okay, fine. It's the same word. Fine. It's the same word goyim, right? In Hebrew. It's both of them the same word goyim in Hebrew. So let's not
No,
bicker over that pettiness.
that's
Okay?
English interpretation. They
All
just
I'm pointing out
which
is that
means
they
other
were
than
allowed to marry outside of Israel. No, goyim is Hebrew. Goyim is a Hebrew word, not English. The word that's translated as either heathen or Gentile is the word goyim in Hebrew.
and that's wrong. It was never. That's their interpretation of
Right?
heathen. That's
Am
the
I
English
correct?
version. That's the KJV came with that heathen shit. It didn't say no heathen. It just says other than Israelite. It's not an Israelite. It didn't mean nothing bad.
But that's what heathen means. That's what heathen means.
Bro, a heathen is somebody. That's not what the definition of heathen is. Don't be saying it's the definition of heathen.
Heathen literally means outside.
A person who
Okay,
does
what
not
word in Hebrew is translated as heathen?
especially
Can you
one
tell me
who
that?
is not a Christian, Jew, or Muslim, as regarded by those who
No,
do.
I said in
That's
Hebrew.
English. This is English. This ain't Hebrew.
Okay. I didn't ask you that. Brother. I didn't ask you English. I asked you in Hebrew. Do you understand the difference between English and Hebrew? They're two different languages. I asked you what was the word in Hebrew that's translated as heathen.
No, KJV, the Strong Concordance of the KJV
What?
translated to
It's goyim.
What? The people of Europe translated to heathen. Get it right. The Jews didn't.
It's goyim.
It's goy. Goyim is plural.
But the Hebrew term is goyim, right?
And you're not supposed to make
Okay, same
marriages
thing.
with the
Thank you.
Israelites
Then
did.
we're both saying the same word. Then you just admitted that. Okay, brother. Slow down. We just agreed that the term goyim means, or let's say outside of Israel. That's the same thing. That's what the word is translated from, goyim. Fine. We don't need to bicker about that. It's the same word. The issue is, you said that they couldn't marry anyone outside of Israel when there's very many scriptures in the Torah, that says they can.
The Torah says that, brother.
Okay, what book, chapter, and verse, please?
I done gave it to you right now. I already gave it to you.
Okay, brother, did you hear what I said? Book, chapter, and verse, please.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 3 through 4. Do not make marriages with them.
All right, hold on. Can someone bring that up on the screen?
What verse you need, brother? What verse you need?
Deuteronomy chapter 7, 3 through 4. And don't use the KJV either.
I don't. I
Okay,
never.
which translation would you like me to use?
Use the Young's literate translation, or the Septuagint, because that's what the so-called Israelites would have been using during the Greek time.
Well, I use the NLT.
Okay,
which
so
has
you
a
want the
better-
Septuagint.
I use the NLT
I didn't say
because
you have to. Sorry, Genesis 49. He
yeah,
made a
I'm using
statement.
NLT because it has an up-to-date corpus receptus. So like a lot of the stuff that came out in the 1900s, like the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that, it considers that. But I can try to find what you're talking about online. I don't know if I can. I do have
The
a
Blue Letter
Septuagint.
Bible has the Septuagint.
What are you using? Genesis 49. What'd you say?
The NLT,
What is that? The New Translation?
New Living Translation.
And the problem with that is that they use words like Ethiopians instead of Cushites when they didn't even refer to Ethiopians.
That's so irrelevant.
That
Back
is not
then-
irrelevant. They change words around, and you change the words of the Torah, you changing the words of Yah.
Danooi, but back then
Come on, bro.
Ethiopians
Get
during
out
that
of here.
time would be. Hold on. Back then Ethiopians during that time would be Northern Sudan.
No, they weren't. And I didn't say that Cush was in.
I explained to this to him
Sudan.
as well. He didn't even.
We're starting new
We'll go over this in another video.
What verse? What verse do you want? 7, 3, and 4.
Yes, this is what they were supposed to keep. They weren't supposed to make marriages with any other people besides their own because they weren't supposed to lose their religion.
Okay, so
And
let's
I
read this
understand
in context. Let's
Read
read this
it.
in context. Let's start at verse 1. All right. It says, when the Lord your God brings you into the land you are about to enter and occupy, he will clear away many nations ahead of you. The Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, and the Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. So that's the subject matter there. These 7 nations are greater and more numerous than you. When the Lord your God hands these nations over to you and you conquer them, you must completely destroy them. So the them is who? The Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. That's the them. And show them no mercy. You must not intermarry with them. Who are the them? The Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites. Do not let your daughters and sons marry their sons and daughters. Who are the there here? The Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites.
No, man,
Perizzites,
that's
Hivites,
no, that's all the nations. They're not supposed to marry, and that goes. The precept to that is what I already said is Ezra chapter 10, verse 1 through 44. And
All right, so let's finish this and then we'll go there.
23,
Let them finish this.
31.
D,
No
you cut
problem.
them off.
No problem.
We
Let
could
him
have
finish
finished our
this and
debate
then
as
we'll go
long as
there.
you've been here. I thought you was going to leave. Now you're still here. We could have kept
Hey,
debating.
I'll leave right now. I thought
No, nobody wants you to leave. Don't leave.
I wasn't done on the core or axis. I could have
right.
been deeper.
Hold on, P. So please don't cut them off again, all right? And then we'll go to your
according to the narrative, because you said I don't believe the Bible. That's fine.
Don't.
But according to the narrative, it says the 7 nations here are the subject. So wherever you say them, there, you plug in the 7 nations. This is basic reading skills.
I agree. Basic reading skills. That's why when you precept Ezra chapter 10, verse 1 through 44, and Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 23 through 31, you would see that those Jews that intermingle with the different nations, it doesn't clarify which. If it does clarify, I can guarantee it's not the same ones you're talking about. So it shows that they kicked them out. So you were Jewish. You had to be Jewish based on your mother too. Your mother had to follow this. Had to be of Jewish lineage also.
All right, D. Could you not interrupt him again, please?
That
You
was
just
interrupting.
interrupted.
I didn't hear anybody speaking. Sorry.
He was speaking, brother. You talked right over him.
All right, so let's go to Ezra's because this same argumentum is being used by BHIs as well, and they go to the same scriptures. And when we look at this scripture here, it's clear it's talking about the 7 great nations if you read it in context. Now, when we move to Ezra's, what's that chapter? So we can actually clarify what's going on in Ezra, because it actually tells you what happens. Can you give me that chapter? Here, I'll find it.
Well, I'm sorry. You were speaking to me. What happened?
Yeah, the chapter where Ezra, the intermingling with other women and what Ezra did about that.
He kicked them out of Israel.
Give me the chapter so we can read what it says. Because people say this about Nehemiah too.
Yeah, because it gives the reason he kicked them out in the chapter.
I'm so confused. What's going on again?
Give me the chapter of Ezra when he deals with
I'll be back.
the brothers that are intermingling with foreign women.
Which one do you got? So you got the Ezra one, right? You don't got the Nehemiah. Is that the one you want, Nehemiah?
Yeah, so people go to Nehemiah as well and say the same thing. Oh, he kicked those people out. And
it's because the Jews. This is what the Jews believe.
What
this
is the
what they
chapter
teach.
and verse, D, please?
Nehemiah.
Because it's the same. It's the same situation. It's the same. It's the same.
How is it the
Go
same
to Ezra
situation
9.
when
Is
it's
it Ezra
Moabites?
9?
Right, we'll go to Ezra 9, and then we'll go to
Sure,
Nehemiah.
because Ezra 9 started, I think, verse 1. I think it's Ezra 9.
All right, so this is Ezra chapter 9. It says, when these things had been done, the Jewish leaders came to me and said, many of the people of Israel and even some of the priests and Levites have not kept themselves separate from other peoples living in the land. They have taken the detestable practices of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, Ammonites, Moabites, Egyptians, and Amorites. For the men of Israel have married women from these people and have taken their wives for their sons. So the holy race has become polluted by these mixed marriages. Worse yet, the leaders and officials have led the way in the outrage. When I heard this, I tore my cloak and my shirt and pulled hair from my head and beard and sat down in utterly shock. Then all who trembled at the words of God of Israel came and sat with me because of this outrage and committed by the return exile. I sat there utterly appalled until the time of the evening sacrifice. At the time of the sacrifice, I stood up from where I had sat in the morning with my clothes torn. I fell to my knees and lifted my hands to the Lord. My God, I prayed. Oh my God, I'm utterly ashamed. I blush to lift up my face to you, for our sins are piled high than our heads, and our guilt has reached to the heavens. From the days our ancestors unto now, we have stepped in sin. This is why we and our kings and our priests have been at the mercy of the pagan kings of the land. We have been killed, captured, robbed, and disgraced, just as we are today. But now we have been given a brief moment of grace, for the Lord our God has allowed a few of us to survive as a remnant. He has given us security in the holy place. Our God has brightened our eyes and granted us relief from our slavery, for we were slaves, but in his unfailing love of God did not abandon us in our slavery. Instead, he caused the king of Persia to treat us favorably. He revived us so we could rebuild the temple of our God and repair its ruins. He has given us protective wall in Judah and Jerusalem. And now, oh our God, what can we say after all this? For once we have abandoned your commands. The servants and prophets warned us. They said the land you're entering to possess is totally defiled by the detestable practices of the people living there. From one end to the other, the land is filled with corruption. Don't let your daughters marry their sons. Don't take their daughters as wives for your sons. Don't ever promote the peace and prosperity of those nations. If you follow these instructions, you will be strong.
Hey, Sue, that's a reflection right back to Deuteronomy, huh?
Yeah, it's going back to Deuteronomy.
Literally what we just read.
Right, and it's dealing with the Canaanites.
Okay.
The 7 great nations. It says, if you follow these instructions, you'll be strong and will enjoy the good things the land produces. You will leave this prosperity to your children forever. It says, now we are being punished because of our wickedness and our great guilt, but we have actually been punished far less than we deserve. For you, our God, have allowed some of us to survive as a remnant. But even so, we are again breaking your commands and intermarrying people who do these detestable things. Won't your anger be enough to destroy us? So even if this little remnant no longer survives, O Lord God of Israel, you are just. We come before you in our guilt, nothing but an escaped remnant. Though in such condition, none of us can stand in your presence. So what's the part? I want the part where you said he kicked them out.
That's the Nehemiah chapter 13, 23, 31. This is all in context. This is all precepts.
Got you.
And it does precept to Deuteronomy 7. But you see in Nehemiah chapter 13, it clearly identifies Moab. All these people were their neighbors. That's what y'all don't understand. The Egyptians wasn't the Israelites' neighbors. The Ishmaelites wasn't the Israelites' neighbors. You had Ammon, Moab, the Canaanites. All of those people were the Israelites' neighbors.
Got you. So do you understand in Nehemiah 13, we're about to read it, that he only kicked out one person and it was for a political reason?
What are you talking about? He kicked out all those that made. Come on, man.
I'm gonna read it for you. It's verse 26, right? People go straight to 26, I think. I'm telling you. Hold on real quick. BHI make the same.
No. Read 23 through 31 because it clearly identifies the people you're talking about.
I'm going to start here. This is Nehemiah 13, verse 23. And I just want to give this to my audience. BHIs make the same argument all the time. And I say,
because they got it from Jews.
Continue reading. So Nehemiah 13, 23 says, about the same time I realized that some of the men of Judah had married women from Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. Why is Ammon and Moab a problem? Because in Deuteronomy, you have to wait how many generations before you let them in. That's what that's a reference to. You saying wow, but that's according to the law. You
This is what Jews go based off of. This
watch
is
this.
not,
Watch
I didn't
this.
never
Hold
say
on.
this is what I believe.
Hold on, Danooi.
Read the whole
Hold on
thing,
real quick. Danooi, let me read this.
I
You said
read the
wow,
whole
but
thing.
if you go to the beginning of the chapter, it actually references this. It says, on the same day as the book of Moses was being read to the people, the passage was found that said no Ammonite or Moabite should ever be permitted to enter the assembly of God. He's quoting a law in the Torah. Now let's go back to verse 23 and read it in context.
Ain't no context. You read it as it's written. It's written that way. And it shows you, if you would have kept on reading, you would have said, was it not because marriages like these that Solomon, king of Israel, sinned?
Got you.
D, could you not interrupt?
No. This is between me and Genesis, the brother Genesis.
So let me finish reading it, and we're gonna get to the point, because you said that they kicked the children out or something to that effect. It says right here. Furthermore,
the children and the women out.
Got you. It says, furthermore, half their children spoke the language of Ashdod or of some other people and could not speak the language of Judah at all. So I confronted them and called down curses on them. I beat some of them and pulled out their hair. I made them swear in the name of God that they would not let their children intermarry with the pagan people of the land. 26. Wasn't this exactly what led King Solomon Israel into sin? The man that there was no king for any nation who could compare to him. And God loved him and made him king all over Israel. But even he was led into sin by his foreign wives. How could you even think of committing this sinful deed and acting unfaithfully toward God by marrying foreign women? Now, here it is. Verse 28. Here it is. One of the sons of Joiada, son of Eliashib, the high priest, had married a daughter of Sanballat the Horonite. If you read the book of Nehemiah in its entirety, Sanballat opposed the rebuilding of the wall. He was an enemy to Israel and wouldn't allow them to rebuild the wall. That's why they had to build the wall with a brick in one hand and a sword in the other hand.
But that sounds like excuses, though.
Listen, stop. I'm trying. Hold on. If
you just made a statement. You made a statement that sounds like excuses, because that's what I'm telling you.
That's not an excuse. I'm about to tell you exactly why he got banished.
Brother, this is what the Jews believe. The Jewish people believe.
No, it does not say listen, it does not say that all the foreign women and all the foreign children or the mixed children got kicked out.
What
It
does
doesn't say that.
Women mean?
It says this. Hold on. It says this. One of the sons of Joiada, son of Eliashib, the high priest, had married a daughter of Sanballat the Horonite. So I banished him from my presence. He didn't say he kicked out those women. He didn't say he kicked out those kids. He says he banished one person. One person. One of the sons of Joiada, son of Eliashib, the high priest, had married a daughter of Sanballat the Horonite. Sanballat is the main antagonist of the book of Nehemiah. So I banished him from my presence. Come on, bro.
No, you come on, bro. They kicked out the children and the wives, the foreign wives.
It doesn't say that.
Israel.
Add into the text.
No, I didn't add to the text. Y'all are adding to the text saying that the earth is 6,000 years old and that they never landed on the mountain of
haplogroups then? Why do you talk about haplogroups if you think the earth is 6,000 years old?
What does that got to do with anything? Because I have a degree in religion and culture studies, and I study genetics, and I have a minor in Judaic studies.
All right, so why do you care what we believe?
Come on, bro.
Why do you care what we believe?
Y'all deceiving African Americans. That's why it's not just y'all. It's not just y'all. No, wait. It's not just y'all. It's these Black Hebrew Israelite camps that have people on your comment section, which I understand you can't control. But the fact is, they come out with this E1B1A crap, and it just doesn't hold any water.
Why don't you go up to the British Israelis and talk to them the same
I do. I told you. I said that already. I do. I debate them all the time.
Where can I find
debate them all the time. They're not even allowed on YouTube like Black Hebrew Israelites. They're on freaking BitChute and all those other Rumble and whatnot.
You have videos debating them?
They don't got no guts to put me on live.
All right.
And we know the Israelites are we know the Israelites are a mixed group and absorb better populations. We know that. We can see it with their haplogroups. It's not even a question that they will marry other people. They weren't kicking these people out. If they were kicking them out, like you said, they would be one thing, and they're not. They're not one single homogenous group. Why? Because they absorbed other groups, because they married into other groups. You give a daughter to somebody if I didn't have any sons. My son will marry somebody, as long as they was not of the 7 nations or Moab and Ammon, because political reasons. I believe Moab or Ammon, one of those guys, would not allow us to walk through their land or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I'm trying to remember what actually happened in the narrative. So the Most High was like, look, don't deal with them at all.
See,
I think the Moab and Ammon thing was about their birth.
Was it the birth?
Was about the fact that they are in some incestuous relationship. I think that's why the Moab and Ammon thing was, and it's only took 10 generations.
Yeah, I have to look at the precept for Deuteronomy on that, Deuteronomy 23, and see why the Most High said that.
All right.
No.
So,
it says here, these nations did not welcome you with food and water when you came out of Egypt. That's why. That's why the Most High didn't want us dealing with Moab and Ammon.
Man,
according to the narrative, you know.
Because they didn't give them food and water, so you can't make marriages. So who are the Moabites and all those people to this day? Do we know? Have we made marriages with them? Who knows, right? Which Hobble groups is Moabites under? Are they under Hobble Group J?
That's a straw man argument.
I know one thing. We sure could have finished my argument on the core axis, but since
All right,
deflected
that's
from
it. That's good then. We'll set up another debate. Just let me know, please.
Man, that whole amount of time we could have been talking about. I don't know why.
Well, you could have had me on the debate when I said the first time when we set up the time and you freaking flaked.
Well,
so
like, since you're still here, let's go into the core axis. Since you're still here, let's get into it. Since you're still talking, let's go. We'll see if you still here.
I'm down to hear that.
That's why I thought you don't want to get into the core axis because it destroys your argument on Haplogroup J.
Well, I just want everybody to know because
that was say he got
that's
kicked
my
out.
brother. Even 13, you know what I'm saying? He passionate in what he believes in. It is what it is. But we're gonna set the debate up. But everybody using these scriptures saying that intermarriage was completely a no-go. That's not true. It's not true. And when you read the book of Nehemiah, there was a political reasons why no one he did not want anybody dealing with Sanballat. That's the problem. Sanballat was trying to stop the construction of the wall. That's why it was a problem. It was a political beef. Now he EV13, man. I ain't gonna take that from him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna take that from him at all. But I've heard that argument 1,000 times. Right? Huh?
You know, he said. You know, he's gonna say he got kicked off.
He didn't get kicked off. He just left, or he dropped off.
I know, but I got a feeling that's what he's gonna say.
It's crazy that we're able to go to the Bible and disseminate the Bible, but you know we don't believe the Bible. So.
Yeah, we need his help for interpretation. Apparently,
I get called an atheist all the time, so they don't bother me. Israelites call me an atheist every day. Oh, you an atheist? You don't believe the Bible? Okay, good. I'm an atheist. Next question. You know, so I don't let it bother me, man. But we'll definitely try to get him back on and actually do that debate, man. Hopefully, get something more formal and get it cracking. Go from there.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, if I could close my paper tomorrow, maybe I could do it. It depends. I mean, don't count.
Handle your academic work, man. This right here is extracurriculars. Just make sure you're doing your academic work, and then we'll figure something out. But one thing I can say, at least he clicked the link and he actually joined. Who was the last person to join and actually engage in conversation?
Mm-hmm. I can give him that.
Ramal Yahoo said that's faithful to God. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's faith.
Nah, that ain't faithful.
Oh man, y'all funny. Ramal Yahoo, he pressing the issue, ain't he? All right, man. I appreciate everybody that came by. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, Genesis 49ers, Source Debate League on YouTube. And, you know, hopefully we can get more dialogues, more debates, and more builds. You know what I'm saying? The brother said, I didn't want to come on here first because I was scared. Bro, I'm not going to bite you, man. I'm not going to. Y'all come over here, have a discussion, whatever. Do what you got to do. And like he said, he can disagree all he wants. I'm going to let him speak, man. Let go for anybody. Y'all going to be able to speak, say what y'all got to say. Get it off your chest. But we're going to have a dialogue about information. You know what I'm saying? We're going to bring forth information. And We're gonna leave it at that. Zion says Psalms 87 would have killed him. Hold on, where Battle Axe at? Because he said he was gonna debate somebody. Hold on. Battle Axe, don't try to.
Was it on
bro.
DNA?
Nah, he wanted to debate on whether Israel is in South Africa with
Oh yeah,
brother AK. AK said he'll take that debate. So hopefully we can set that up. Hopefully we can set that up, man. Don't be pump faking. Okay, millionaire mindset. You talking a good game. How about you do it?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
You talking a good game.
I'm down.
Here you go.
Put the link. Put the link.
Click that link, millionaire mindset.
Wasn't there another person on earlier today when we were in Clubhouse in the chat that was kind of speaking funny as well?
Who?
There was like two people. It was of course Dan.
You gotta remind me, bro. So much stuff happened during that stream.
Hey, Jashub, I just want to say, when y'all invite somebody else on here, make sure they got their chronology together, because that last dude, dates was off. Make sure they got their model together, because dude was just jumping anywhere he thought he may find a good argument at. I don't think the audience got nothing much out of that, to be honest.
Deliberately lied on stuff.
Hey, man, I can't really say that because it's like, every time we ask people to come on here and have that back and forth and that exchange, it never happens. So I'm just thankful it happened. Yeah, you know, that's how I'm looking at it. You know, half glass full. You know.
So you pretty much saying we gotta take what we can get, huh?
I guess everybody's scared to come on the channel, James. When they gonna stop being afraid?
Hey, look, if you're going, oh my bad, go ahead, Avery.
No, that's not me. That's Zia. Shalom, Zia.
Shalom, y'all. Hey, I had a question for y'all. Hey, I was getting into it with somebody about DNA yesterday. I wanted to make sure, like, did Jay come in before Moses, or did he come in after Moses? Time period.
Jay would have been in the Levant before Moses. So Jay came into the Levant in the early Bronze Age 3 period, and it came into the Levant carrying a particular type of culture known as the Kerbic-Carrick culture. You can look at this stuff up when you get a chance. But the Kerbic-Carrick culture is basically an offshoot of the Core Araxes culture that I was reading earlier, but I didn't get a chance to get into the Kerbic-Carrick. And so Jay was basically a Caucasian-speaking people with a Caucasian culture and Caucasian genetics. So yes, to make a long story short, it was in the Levant before.
Y'all ain't shit. I'm sorry. Look at what Orthodox board of them talking about.
The problem is you.
That's funny.
I could have sworn that I read something about like Jay coming in around like the Syrian captivity.
Well, some came in around then, but it was in the Bronze Age. Like, that's one thing we do have to acknowledge. It was definitely there in the Bronze Age, before Assyria. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
So when people come to you on that, be ready, for that.
Yeah, James.
Yeah, I was gonna send his ass to y'all.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Sean.
All right. Well, James, to your point, James, I don't have a problem with them coming up here with their flawed dates and because it just shows how asinine their arguments are. So I don't have a problem with that. But I get what you're saying. If you want to have a good debate, you want to hear some quality dialogue, But to me, if they come up here with their flawed dates in there, it just helps for us to prove the nonsense they're spewing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, James.
I'm trying to get knowledge in poetry. Click that link. Knowledge in poetry. I think that was him earlier, right? Avery.
Yep, that was him. Knowledge and poetry. That's the guy I was talking about. Yeah, who was him and then that guy with the name Millionaire.
They're in the chat, aren't they?
Yep, they're in the chat, and they're not. Click the link. I mean, I'll be nice. The only reason I was speaking loud louder than normal is because that dude is taking things personal.
Shit. So what? He tried to get your own DNA, and then he went into the scriptures. Cause I got like the ending.
That's what I was feeling because when I was getting to the core axis culture and how haplogroup J came into the Levant with having that particular Caucasian culture, that's when he was like, "Oh, I got to go leave now." And then next thing you know, we're still here an hour later talking. I'm like, man, I could have got deeper into the core axis, but you wanted to leave, or you claimed you was going to leave. Yeah, that's what I'm going to stick him on when we do the next debate. I'm sure he's going to study it, but maybe he'll come around. My whole thing is, if he's an E marker, why is he trying to say that we're not even like descendants of Noah? I don't even understand that. Does he
So
not
what was
want
the premise of his argument?
Man, he has so many different arguments. Well, I guess his whole premise is that Noah's descendants, they're all J markers. So we're not descendants of Noah, even though
we're pre-Adamites.
Right. And that would even include him
Pre-Adamic,
because apparently he's an E marker. So that don't even make sense. But I don't know, his model is everywhere. I don't know.
We're pre-Adamite.
Is that
So we pre-Adamite, so we ain't got no soul. We the goyim, huh? We ain't got no soul, but we invented soul power. No,
Should we worse than the Goyim? At least the Goyim have souls.
Nehemiah Yashala, you said that wasn't a quality dialogue at all. He could share screen and talking to a black. Listen, man, we can't control that. And these other channels, y'all say that about Garfield, they don't be sharing no information. They just be going in. We the only one who really got that standard like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't be in there, you know what I'm saying, pressing them. Like, we can't control that dude and his technical difficulties. Yeah, how be praised. When someone says you're a pre-Adamite, that means you're not even the son of Adam.
That means you should have been killed in the flood.
Yeah, that's what they call us, flood survivors. But he EV13, so wouldn't he be a flood survivor?
Exactly. That's what I'm so confused at. And he thinks he's an Israelite because he believes that the Danites are sea peoples. So I'm like, what are you saying?
I think he's just claiming that. I don't. Next time he come on, I would want him to quantify, qualify that particular statement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to go off what he says.
Find out he's a J mark.
Exactly.
JP58.
Uh-oh. Who clicked that link? Knowledge and poetry in the building. What's going on?
Shalom. What's up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I mean, I spoke earlier. I was on the, what's it called? The Clubhouse.
Wait, are you DNA facts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree with the whole J being Ham, Shem, Japheth. I don't agree with any of that. But in terms of the genetics, when you do look at Bronze Age Israel, there is an influx of those people carrying, Armenian-related ancestry and Iranian-related ancestry, and that increases. I think it increases by 14% every millennia. So it does play a huge part when it comes to the autosomal ancestry. And I believe it's in one of the papers that you guys were quoting, or I think it's something to do with Bronze Age DNA in the Southern Levant. I'll find the paper, but it actually states there's a 14% increase per millennia. So if we're going from the early Bronze Age to the middle intermediate Bronze Age, the later Bronze Age, and the Iron Age, it's increasing. So I find that particularly.
That's the paper we read. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't agree that J is the haplogroup. I agree that it affected the autosomal DNA of the region. That's a fact. I don't think haplogroup E were the majority at the time. I think they became extremely reduced in size, and these other people were able to dominate more culturally, even though they adopted Semitic languages. But a lot of the cultural footprint came with these invading groups that came from further north.
Yeah, that's actually what the papers actually say when it comes
Uh-huh.
to even Razi Khan even said that when it comes to haplogroup E and J, E was in
Hmm.
Levant, Proto-Semitic, and then J came in over time through multiple different waves, and they slowly assimilated into Semitic culture, and
Uh-huh.
to the point that they are now the majority. I think J is the majority in the Middle East, and E it might be like the second
It's a
highest
minority.
haplogroup. Yeah,
Uh-huh. But
so
what I
I agree.
found interesting in that study was there were two outliers that had really high levels of, I think it was Iranian Zagros or the Armenian Caucasus ancestry. But the other two were two siblings, the other two that fit within the normal range of the Neolithic Levantine and the Caucasus ancestry. They were two brothers and they belonged to EM34. So they were E1B1B. So it's
Right.
interesting that even though they were E carriers, they had substantial amounts of ancestries that were linked to those people. And I think they were even buried in sites like they were close to like a tomb or like a temple that belonged to like the upper class. So it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually because we found two E
Mhm.
samples in ancient Armenia in the middle Bronze Age period. So yeah, there was definitely E and J basically cohabitating together for a very long time.
Okay, so they could have migrated back with the J basically.
Yeah, that's what it would seem like. Or some people even posit that those E markers in Armenia could be from Akkadian expansion. And I kind of go with the Akkadian idea that those E markers got there. Akkadians
Yeah,
being Eastern Semitic people.
because it's interesting because in earlier samples from like Israel, you usually find E1B, you find I think EM78 in like Jordan, but towards the Bronze Age, it's like usually dominated by EM34, and the EM34 that the specific subclades I think is EM84. They were found in more northern regions like Ebla, Syria, and I think it
Right.
was in somewhere in Turkey as well. So you're
Right.
right, it could have been E that migrated up and then migrated back southwards. So that does, make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's actually what I believe for Abraham. I showed a video earlier. I don't know if he was there for that part of the debate, but if you just type
Uh,
in on YouTube migration of Semitic languages, they first begin in the Levant, homeland of
mhm,
Natufi, of course. In 4000 BC, Proto-Semitic begins, and then 3000, excuse me, 3750 BC is when they began to expand from the Levant into Mesopotamia. And I see
mhm.
Abraham sort of being a back migration coming, his ancestors being in the Levant, going into Mesopotamia, then Abraham coming back from Mesopotamia to the Levant.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's just strange how during the Bronze Age only EM34 dominates and you hardly ever see any other E haplogroups. So it just kind of throws things off. But that makes a lot of sense that it migrated back with the J from further north.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
But there was another person in the chat that I also wanted to talk to, but I don't know if he's there. You see him shoot?
Who are you talking about?
There was somebody else.
Earlier or now?
Millionaire?
I'm looking.
Maybe he left. I don't know. Anyways, so
Yeah, so the integration of those people don't change the original root of the people that were there before, and that's that's what our argument is. That's why you have papers saying the Natufians will be the likely forefathers of the Jews. That doesn't mean that there were not other haplogroups that were absorbed into this population, right?
Oh, and by the way, I did want to touch on one thing where
Mhm.
the other brother was talking about. I forgot his name, the EV13 guy. You're right. The X, it doesn't stand for excluding. It stands for ancestral. I actually know he's getting it off of Wikipedia because on Wikipedia it's been edited where it says X stands for what do you call it, excluding, but it's actually ancestral.
I mean, I was reading it to him verbatim off of the supplementary materials. I was reading it from the paper.
Yeah, you had the perfect materials. Like that literally outlined what the X means. The X means that it's basically ancestral. That particular sample carries mutations that were found in like specific subclades like EM2 and the E1B1B1. So you were correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I just try to take out the time to actually read the material. And we can go back and forth, but material says what it says, you know.
Yeah, exactly. People are stubborn. They only want to believe anything that supports their argument. I don't think most people approach the topic open-minded. I think a lot of people have an agenda, you know, and the biggest thing that people don't want to accept is, you know, to learn, because when you learn something, you have to admit that you're wrong. It kills a part of your ego. And many people, they can't deal with, you know, that pride of being wrong. But you have to be wrong in order to learn. You know?
Yeah, you have to tear down. you have to tear down in order to create a new.
Exactly. But,
and most people are not willing to do that. You know,
they're not.
A lot of people are presuppositionists, you know, and others have agendas, just straight agendas, like you said. So, you know, it's hard to deal with people like that.
No, 100%. That's why I think it will be interesting if, like, I don't know, like a Chinese academic cover this. I don't really think they're particularly interested in, you know, Abrahamic religions and faiths and stuff like that. But usually a lot of the people that are doing, you know, the research are, you know, Jewish people or people of a European background. And we know that they're racist. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
but we've been fortunate that we've been fortunate that we have geneticists and people who are putting out studies who are, you know, who are putting aside biases, you know, and just putting forth information, you know. So we've been fortunate in that.
No, you're right. I do agree when it comes to like the academic side of things. When it comes to genetics, they are more impartial. But when you really do read some of the things they write, like the explanations, you can see some racist undertones. You know, they're not completely impartial.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think one of those undertones is always trying to relegate a certain haplogroup to sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make sense. Because like you said, the oldest E haplogroups are found in Israel, and then they're found in North Africa amongst the Ibero-Maurusians. And the Ibero-Maurusians themselves have significant ancestry that's related to the Natufians. So it just doesn't make sense how they just, I don't know, it's kind of crazy.
Right.
Hey, I'm with the brother on the racist undertone comments. Shub, you know about this because it's one article where they try to explain the admixture of the sub-Saharan African DNA in the Israelites by trying to presuppose BCE slave trade. You know what I'm saying?
Right, Solomonic.
Yeah, talking about Solomon must have had a slave trade going through West Africa. That's how they was trying to excuse. So, you know, a lot of they conjecture do have racist undertones because I only can see that as racist. We have no evidence of any slave trade in sub-Saharan Africa during the BCE period.
Well, a lot of that too is just to keep the narrative going, keep the same racial narrative going, you know?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, the first explorers of the world were, you know, they were black, they were Africans. So it's like for them to just always link sub-Saharan African ancestry or black people with slavery, it just goes against everything. It doesn't make no sense. You know, they were the explorers, they were the initial invaders. You know, they were populating the world. That's why you find E haplogroups everywhere amongst all nations, you know?
Right. But you're getting more open-minded scientists that are getting in the field. Like I was reading a paper about the genetic history of Chad. Now, for you know, Chad is a Afro-Asiatic language phylum, right?
Yep.
For years, they would say haplogroup R are responsible for taking Afro-Asiatic language into sub-Saharan Africa, to the Chad region. Now they're doing a new paper. They wrote a new paper in 2017 saying, no, that's not true. That actually those R markers came later, and a group that came from the Nile Valley migrated eastward, westward into sub-Saharan Africa carrying Afro-Asiatic language. And they're associated with the E markers there, not the R markers.
Yeah, that wouldn't have made sense for them to claim R because no other R, that's only one very specific subclade of R that speak Afro-Asiatic languages. The majority of R are all Indo-European. But when you look at haplogroup E, especially E1B1B, the majority of them speak like all the different languages of the Afro-Asiatic branch. So it doesn't take a genius to connect the two. And even the distribution of those languages and the haplogroups, they follow a similar pattern. So it's not the only ones that would ever associate R with Afro-Asiatic are, like you said, those that have those racist undertones.
Right. They're starting to peel back a lot of, like I said, they're saying that actually this branch of Afro-Asiatic came from the Nile Valley, migrated down, and then went westward towards the Chadic regions. And that also, and they say this happened less than 4,000 years ago. That also shows that there's been migrations intra-Africa, eastward, westward bound for a long time.
Exactly.
Some people don't, like, there's E1B1B in West Africa. Like, some people have this idea that we're a genetic isolate and there's a genetic barrier between East and West Africa. And it's not really like that.
No, there was E1B. If there was E1B all the way in North Africa, Morocco, I think they say 15 or 13,000 years ago. Of course, it easily would have diffused into West Africa. That probably would have been one of the first regions that it diffused into.
Right. There's another article that says many of the Middle Eastern population today actually descend from an African man and a European mother. I think that's 2019 or 2020 when they wrote that article.
That's actually pretty interesting. But one thing I don't agree with, and I've seen this study or this person's theory posted around a lot. There's this one guy that says E1B1B spread with the Islamic Empire or with the Arabs, and then they claim that wherever the Islamic Empire went, you would find E1B1B. But
That's that younger era creationist, huh?
That's Nathaniel Jensen, yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense, because if you go to Sudan and you go to I don't know if it's Sudan or southern Egypt, but Makuria, these people were probably the only people that resisted Arab control, and they were never taken over. In fact, they signed a treaty that lasted, I believe, 600 years. And when you look at the DNA of those people, they were what do you call it, EV32, so they were E1B1B, but they were Christian and they resisted any sort of Arab influence into their country. They actually caused the Islamic Empire one of its first embarrassing defeats. Like they were originally mixed with Nubians and they were great archers. I think there's even a story where they'd ask the Muslims, they would joke and say, "Where would you like your arrow?" And then one of them would say, "In my eye." And then all of a sudden he's got an arrow in his eye, or "Where do you want your arrow?" "In my leg." And they've got an arrow in their leg. So those people were never taken over by the Muslims. And there's ancient DNA from those people dating back to that same period. And they were carrying EV32. So E1B was already present. And then we already know that E1B was present in the Iberian Mauritians, and that was 15 something thousand years ago. So it doesn't make any sense to make that claim, because most Arabs today, they don't belong to haplogroup E. Most of them are J.
Right. Yeah, you do have, I guess you're talking about marsh Arabs and stuff of that nature. They do have a high prevalence of J.
Yeah, they have a high prevalence of J. And it's kind of, I don't even know how to J is just J itself. Like you hardly only J1E is associated with Semitic groups. The rest are all manner of people. So even to claim that J1 or J1E is Semitic has no sense whatsoever. The rest of their branch speak Indo-Aryan or Indo-European languages. So I don't understand
Exactly.
how people make that connection. You know, like it's literally a minority. I don't even think J1E people make up 1 or 2% or even 10% of the total J haplogroup.
Yeah,
Thank
they don't. No, they're
thank
like you said, they're a minority amongst them.
Yeah, so,
we,
so how could they be Semitic? It
we've
doesn't
been
make sense.
that's what we've been arguing. these people don't get it.
No, it actually makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird,
they
man.
accept that I is, what I'm saying, European, but then all of a sudden it's brother Clay J not. Makes no sense.
Nah.
And that's what I had to get him to concede on today because he was like, "Oh, the J markers are already speaking Semitic languages." I said, "Okay, when did the Semitic language? When did it have its origin? What does it date back to?" He didn't know, so I told him it's 5,750 years ago. I said, "Where were the J markers during that period?" That's like 3,750, 4,000 BC. That's the range you're going. There wasn't a large prevalence of J in the Levant during that time. They started leaking in around the Chalcolithic and they started taking in a large influx during the Bronze Age. So people were already speaking the Proto-Semitic, early Semitic, prior to them even arriving into the Levantine area.
exactly. That's what I was actually about to show him right before he claimed that he was going to leave. I guess I could show y'all now if y'all don't care, but we can just keep it
Yeah,
free
sure,
flow.
go ahead.
All right, because the only thing I was going to pull up was this real quick. Share my screen. So what I was going to basically show, I wonder if I should show this now or wait for the debate. But I was going to show, of course, when it comes to the source, I'm not going to read it all, but basically, we estimate Semitic had an early Bronze Age origin 5,750 years ago in the Levant. Basically, that would be in 3750 BC. That's when Proto-Semitic was in the Levant. However, when it comes to haplogroup J, the oldest J marker we find in the Levant is in 2196 BCE. People were speaking Semitic long before, thousands of years before J entered the land. And J entered the land around the time of the Core-Araxes expansion in the early third, in the Bronze Age 3
And where was it before that?
It was in the Caucasus. I guess I'll go back and show you the map. So here is the Core-Araxes culture, and here are Semites. Obviously, they're distinct, two completely different peoples. But this is what happens in the early Bronze Age 3 period. The Core-Araxes culture comes into the Levant, and Semites begin to leave, but some Semites that stayed end up getting absorbed. So let me show you again. Core-Araxes here, Semites going into Mesopotamia, that's the Akkadians. Then boom, Core-Araxes comes in a couple of centuries later and comes to the Levant. And when it comes to the time period, it happened around the time after the collapse of the Akkadian Empire. This is from World History Encyclopedia. I'm not going to read all this. I'm just going to read this part. But it says, when the kingdom of Akkad fell in 2190 BCE, the Hurrians and others exploited the constant power vacuum in Mesopotamia. So 2190 BC is very close to the same time period. Excuse me. Actually, let me just go back and get to it. Same time period as when J entered into the Levant, because J was carried by Hurrians, which I went over. Actually, as a matter of fact, this paper literally says, well, first I'll read this real quick. The collapse of the Akkadian Empire saw the arrival of people using Kerbic wire pottery, coming originally from the Zagros Mountain, east of the Tigris. It is suspected by some that this event marked the arrival in Syria and Palestine of the Hurrians, people later known in the biblical tradition as the Horites. And this is why I try to explain to people that the Horites are not Neanderthals, they're Hurrians. But anyways, this is actually a good paper that literally proves that J came into the Levant as the Cora-Araxes culture, or as the Kerbic wire culture. I'm gonna let Yeshua read that real quick as I take care of this that I need to take care of.
All right, so this is the genetics and archaeology of ancient Israel. It says the geographic distribution of J2A versus J1 mirrors the two autosomal components from Haber et al. 2013. However, several demographic and migrational events may contribute to the observed Y frequency patterns in the southern Levant. Major J2A lineages whose origin is likely from East Anatolia, Armenia, Georgia, and northwest Iran could have migrated to the southern Levant during the early Bronze Age through the movement of the Kura-Araxes horizon to Lebanon, Syria, and ultimately the Galilee area, marked by the Kerbic correct cultures. Later immigration from similar East Anatolian source may have brought Hurrian onomastics, and onomastics is names. It says to the southern Levant during the Middle Bronze Age, this event may have added J2A to an underlying J1 substratum.
And that's why I was trying to explain that these J markers came in. They were not Semitic people. They were Caucasian people, to keep it simple. They spoke a completely different language, had a completely different culture, and we know exactly who these J markers are. And it fits with the recent DNA studies of modern day people who are related to the Canaanites. And it fits what we find when it comes to the Canaanite names, being Hurrian and such. And the Kerbic carrot wire culture, just to show you that, the Kerbic carrot wire culture is a type of early Bronze Age Syro-Palestinian pottery first discovered at the site. Kerbic carrot wire culture appears to have been the Levantine version of the early Transcaucasian culture, also known as Cora-Araxes. So here's that type of pottery. It's basically a black pottery with a reddish round rim, and it was originally from the Cora-Araxes culture in the Southern Caucasus. It appeared in the Levant, and it was around the time of what? Early Bronze Age 3 period, which fits what time period? The exact same time period that we see, the early Bronze Age 3 period, Cora-Araxes culture, 27 through 22 BCE, around the same time haplogroup J enters. These are Hurrians, Cora-Araxes people. These aren't Semites. That's what I was trying to illustrate to him. But he claimed he had to leave, so I couldn't get into it, but I'll show you all that now. And I'm actually getting to this soon in my videos. I'm breaking things down slowly. Right now, we're talking about Chechens and English and stuff, because those groups are actually modern day, like Chechens and English are like some of the closest modern day people to the Cora-Araxes and the Hurrians, because they kind of got isolated in the Caucasus. But eventually we'll get deeper into the Cora-Araxes culture and the Hurrians in my upcoming videos. My part 3 video coming out this Friday will deal with that, actually. But I'll just stop right there because I'm kind of.
So as you can see, we're making inroads here. I'm just glad to be a part of it, man. I'm glad to be a part of my team and actually taking science serious and building our models through a scientific lens and through the field of research. It's just a beautiful thing to witness. So if anybody want to join any further discussion, we can do that. Anybody have anything before we close out?
So those are basically I think there was some sort of, is it prophecy or something about Japheth dwelling in the tents of Shem. So those Hurrians and those J markers, I'm assuming they are those people, right?
Actually, it's funny you brought that up.
Hold on. Try to get them to say that one more time. Can you say that one more time for me?
There was a prophecy about the descendants of Japheth migrating and dwelling in the tents of Shem. So I'm assuming that it's basically a prophecy of those people from further north coming and migrating.
Continue, brother. I had to just drop that bomb on it. I'm sorry.
No, I've finished. I'm not too well versed on the topic, but I do connect the dots that I see.
That's what I was about to say. He connected the same dots we connect. You know what I'm saying? It becomes
Mm-hmm.
obvious. Like once you start studying the literature, actually reading it, building out your model, looking at the geographical locations, stuff just become obvious to you. And then like I got video from like 5 years ago where I was talking about stuff we didn't even have DNA on yet. But now you get the DNA on it, it's actually lining up what I was saying just because I was connecting the dots.
Yeah, DNA, science is your friend. I know a lot of people try to separate religion and science and DNA, but isn't all knowledge from God, you know? So to be willfully ignorant when you've got these resources in front of you, you're just doing a disservice to yourself.
You hear
Exactly.
that out
Because
there?
if you really believe, you'll do just like what me and my brothers did. We took this serious and said, look, if it's true, it got to be some evidence of this in the archaeological record. It got to be some evidence in history, some evidence in genetics. Once we start digging
100%.
through it, stuff just start connecting.
That makes
Science
sense.
is your friend.
Here's that verse that y'all
Science
was
is your
talking about.
friend.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 27. May God extend or enlarge or expand Japheth's territory. That could be referring to, migration. Then it says, may Japheth live in the tents of Shem. And tents could refer to the home of Shem,
Somebody else
the
coming up?
culture of Shem, the land of Shem. And when you look at the migration map of Indo-Europeans, kind of interesting how it matches perfectly.
With
Well, the
scripture.
Proto-Indo-European expansion matches perfectly with the sons of Japheth expansion.
Mm-hmm.
But just wanted to add that in.
This is where we took science to put what we believe to the test and strengthen our faith. We don't argue about religious precepts and stuff because, like we say, that's circular argument. But when you have concrete evidence you can argue, it can only strengthen your faith, not weaken you.
Mm-hmm.
Only people who are scared to really put what they believe to the test are scared to go the route we're going.
That's very true.
Facts.
But then the next question is what do we do with this knowledge? Like, you've got to put the knowledge into motion, right? You've got to practice the knowledge.
Well, when I was doing it, I was thinking more or less, our people don't really have a sense of their history. Like everything we've been taught was we was in West Africa, jumping in trees, hanging out in the bush until the white man came and saved us. So a lot of our people have low self-esteem because they have no knowledge of their own history. But when you can start showing them, wait a minute, you started farming. All the antecedents for civilization and civilization itself come from you. That changed the mindset of a person. That gives them pride, a little bit more pride in who they are, and gives them a foundation to build upon. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help our people build themselves up so we can be prosperous here and now, and not just be, out here struggling the day to day, but have all this deep spiritual knowledge. We want it to be in the totalities of our lives. We want everything in our lives to show, our faith, our belief, and our prosperity because of it.
That's very true. But now when you look at, most West Africans or E1B1A carriers, they're not godless people. Most are now either Christian or Muslim. And I'll be honest, it's hard for them to work their way backwards to like Judaism, because now they've got Christianity and they've got Islam, which they view as progressive and moving forward from Judaism. They believe that it still has the same message, but they're carrying the newer message, so to say.
And I'd say this though, in South Africa, I was reading a PhD theologian in South Africa, and he interprets uh what's that, Matthew 3:16 the same way we do, or John 3:16. I'm sorry, John 3:16 the same way we do. He has a whole dissertation about how this is only talking about the principality of Israel or the nation state of Israel and themselves. He used the same type of wording we use, as in world can mean a political entity and stuff like that. Like a lot of stuff that comes out of Africa is so different than the European view of the Bible. So I have to give them credit there.
No, I agree. I'll be honest. The New Testament, everything that's in it, a lot of it, and I don't know if you guys believe in the Trinity, but this all came from Paul, and a lot of it came from the Roman Empire when they were trying to gain political influence, because the number one way you can control the world and gain influence is not by war. It's by the pen. It's by religion. It's by ideology. That's why the Roman Empire embraced Christianity, but they infused a lot of their doctrine and beliefs into Christianity.
That's facts. They didn't have a choice but to embrace it because so many people were falling to it, but they had to figure out a way to control it themselves. That's when you start getting people like John Chrysostom. A lot of this rhetoric that come from Christians today against Jews all go back to this man and the tetrarch. It was him and two other people, where they pretty much removed supremacy of the New Testament from Jews and Israel, making it through Israel, and made it through the Roman Catholic Church. So they would take scriptures and interpret them in a lot of ways that people interpret them today. Like, I mean, everyone who is an Israelite should read John Chrysostom Homilies Against the Jews. I think it's 1-6. Read all of them. You will see a lot of where this Christian rhetoric come from, and it'll really make you sit back and be like, this is old school rhetoric they pushing, and they don't even know where it come from. They don't have no idea this has nothing to do with scripture, but has everything to do with Rome trying to take political power.
Exactly. It's a lot of Hellenistic influences, which came from the Romans and the Greeks.
All right, brothers. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add before we get out of here?
Did you want to tackle the question on the screen or just in the video?
Oh, yeah, we could. I thought it was just a comment. I didn't know it was a question, but
not question. My bad. I guess that's more of a statement.
Yeah, it said before Christianity and Islam, people in West Africa had their own indigenous religions like Ifa and Vodou. They actually had Judaism too. They had a form of Judaism as well. Because see, a lot of people had this isolated idea about West Africa. You had Jews that were crisscrossing the Sahara, penetrating the Sahel. How do we know this? Because the Catalan cartographers, they were able to map out sub-Saharan Africa so well. It's because they were used to taking those routes back and forth, back and forth. The people in Algeria, the Jews in Algeria, the Moors in Algeria, the Berbers. And we have historical documentation of these things. We're not just speaking these things without credence. So Judaism would have been there. It would have been there for years. The Saint Jerome says it himself that the Jewish communities under the Pax Romana flourish from India all the way to the western tip of Africa. That's Saint Jerome saying that. So that would have been a component, an ancient component as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of that history isn't preserved because all those groups embraced Islam or Christianity. So even the traditions they used to have linked to Judaism, it's mixed in with their Islam and their Christianity. So it's kind of hard to tell because a lot of it is interlinked.
Yes, that is true. A lot of them are just Jews. It's like to this day, you got people in Timbuktu, the Sakor. They're just Jews in names, meaning they'll just say, hey, I know that I descend from Jews, but my religion is Islam.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we also have to keep in mind that we're not trying to say that the first E1B1A in West Africa was Israelites, nor are we saying everyone in West Africa was Israelites. We do know that there were people that were there before the Israelites. We're just saying there's an Israelite component there, and we're highlighting and bringing it out.
Right. That's our hypothesis. That's part of our theory. You know, a lot of people don't may not agree with that, but that's our theory. That's what is a theory? Interpretation of facts. What is a hypothesis? An unproven statement. So we deal with the scientific methodology to make our arguments. Sean, you want to say something before we get out of here?
Nah, we pretty much covered everything, bro. Yeah.
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 Hit that subscribe button. Like the videos. We will be back with more content. We appreciate y'all. Peace.